Hey everyone, welcome to the Nintendo Prime Podcast Season 2, Episode 65. Don't worry, I know you guys don't see Andres restart here yet. He called me while the intro was rolling, so he will be here in a moment. That being said, we got a pretty loaded show for you guys. Lots to talk about. So much to talk about. I don't even have the damn documents up, so we're going to take care of that over here.
Can't believe it.
We're going to do, before we get to introducing everyone, what have we been playing lately? I want to make sure to remind everyone that we're doing something a little different today. You guys remember back when Jake won a bet against me, he turned it into, hey, you could super chat to change my username. Well, tonight, it's been cleared by everyone but Andres, so it'll be a surprise to him. You guys can super chat to change any of our usernames, the entire show, and a little text below us. So you know what? It's going to be a pretty bricked up night, I think. A pretty bricked up night.
And you have to clarify as well.
You know what, guys? I think tonight I'm going to keep it clean. So I'm going to change my name to keep it clean. If you wanted me, per chance, to keep it a little nasty, all you have to do is super chat and change my name.
That's right. And actually, Jake, I wanted to add to that anytime somebody super chats to change our name, all of that super chat money goes directly to the person whose name was changed. Right, Nintendo?
Yes. give it to me. I need
Unfortunately, that's not how it works.
YouTube 60% host fee.
Exactly.
All right, everybody, let's get nice and bricked up tonight.
Yes.
Enjoy your favorite beverage, your moisturizer or lotion of choice, and just kick back and relax.
I do like to say
Treat yourself.
moisturize.
All right. Let's start the show the way we've always been starting, with what have we been playing lately and introducing ourselves. We'll go bottom to top this time. We'll start with Hoops and Hip Hop. Welcome back to the
top.
show.
I like the way you think.
That's what
Starting with me. Well, for those who don't know me yet, I'm Hoops and Hip Hop, do Pokemon content on YouTube, and glad to be back. And as far as what I've been playing lately, well, I've been getting through my backlog of Christmas games that I got. So I'm about to start on Sonic Frontiers. So I'm
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's one that I was like really wanting to play when it came out and then just didn't get to it. So I got it for Christmas. And yeah, I'm about to run through that. So pretty hyped.
Right on.
Yeah, there we go. All right. And then we have, for the first time on the show, Rogers Base.
Hello, everybody. Hi, I'm Rogers Base. I mostly do Nintendo videos and anime videos here on YouTube. And recently, I've been playing 2 games. Obviously, one, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Also, I just want to double check. Oh, I see Andres has just joined us. Hello. It says not even sure my internet's working. Welcome.
Andres with the fresh cut. Let's go.
Oh, shoot.
What's up, guys?
He's got the guns out. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I
Andres
just got back
steal
from
your
the
girl
gym.
tonight.
What?
You're about to steal everyone's girl tonight.
You want me to change my clothes?
No, I mean, unless you're gonna wear less.
Green tank top on you? You're fine. You're fine. You're doing well.
Thanks. Rogers, nice to meet you the first time.
Nice
Bloops,
to see you
hello
as
there.
well. Absolutely. You're
Yeah.
fashionably late, but we love to see it.
Yeah.
You're putting the fashionable in fashionably late with that tank top.
I
It's lovely.
technically told Nate that I might get caught up in the gym.
Technically,
right.
I checked
Okay.
Twitter and my messages. There is nothing from you saying such a thing.
Check the tweet. You missed it. You missed it. It's there in the Twitter messages.
I will double check.
Yo, I say, yo, gym is taking me a while.
Yo,
Probably
gym is
be a
taking
few
me a
minutes
while.
late.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
over at his
Well,
camera.
to be
So I
fair,
can
you
see
said
him
that
looking at your
while I
picture.
wasn't paying attention. So.
Yeah. I apologize. I'm trying
no,
to
you-
be
oh, good.
healthier.
You're
Wait,
all good.
Rogers,
We want you to
very
stay
smoothly.
healthy.
Me too.
Your voice sounds like either like an actor or maybe like the voice of a cartoon character. Do you ever get someone? Because
Me?
yeah,
I
it's messing with my
appreciate
head.
that.
You sound like someone, and I can't.
I'll
place
close.
it.
Hold on. Close my. I don't know. I'm trying to think who I might sound like. I've gotten when I was in college. People said I look like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and then I grew up, and people were like, "Are you Elon Musk?" And I'm like, "Bro, how do you go
What?
from Joseph Gordon-Levitt to
No,
Elon
it's not.
Musk?"
It's not your looks. It's just the voice.
It's just the voice.
killing
I wish I could help you. I honestly, I'm not sure. But listen throughout the course of the show, and then let me know by the end, Jake. How you're feeling.
Okay. All right.
I could do.
I'm
I
hearing a
could
little
do
bit of
a voice.
echo.
Oh,
If you
yeah,
want me to be
care,
like
I don't
Stitch
care.
or something, I could do the whole podcast like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch.
Wait, I kind of want to see a little bit.
You know. But yeah, no, I've been
Wait,
playing.
tell me Ohana meets family.
What'd you say?
What?
Ohana means family. Family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten. And actually, the weird thing is that Stitch sounds a lot like Meatwad from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yeah, he does.
If you
Yeah, he
adjust the
does.
voice up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I can see that.
Meatwad a little bit. You just like adjust it up a little bit and then you become Meatwad.
Dude, you can be a voice actor. This is
I
pretty good.
appreciate that. You all are very nice. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're all good. You're all good. We got tank tops. We got voices. This is fantastic. The energy is good. No, but I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I'm not going to get any spoiler talk because I feel like that's something I don't know where everybody is in the game right now. I've beaten it. I adore it. I love it. And I'm currently making my way through Princess Peach Showtime as well. Nice little fun, chill game.
I got to ask you, Roger, because I know you're also
Yes.
a Xenoblade fan.
I've
heard people
just
say...
right up there.
Yo,
My mains.
Very good. Very good. All right.
Oh,
now we got it.
There
Now
we
we're in
go.
business. There
Now
we go.
we're in
There
business.
you go.
yeah.
Yeah.
hell yeah.
That might be cooler than the Master Sword.
Guys will
No,
look
the
at this
Master
and
Sword's
say,
pretty
hell yeah.
It is.
Hell yeah.
But what I wanted to ask you, though, I've heard a lot of
Yes.
people compare Rebirth to Xenoblade 3. Does it feel kind of similar?
It's way better by a mile.
Yeah.
And I say
Okay.
that as somebody who's like a hardcore Xenoblade fan. Like I
Sure.
love Xenoblade,
I mean,
but I
proof's
was
right
kind
there.
of I think we even talked about this, Prime. I was kind of underwhelmed by base Xenoblade 3. Like it took me
Yeah.
getting to Future Redeemed to really appreciate what that game was going for. And I feel like now I can look back at it and really enjoy it. But that last like 3-4 hours of 3 really like lost it for me. I think the middle of that game is peak. The stuff with chapter 5, again, no spoilers for people who haven't played it, but like some major things happen in the game that definitely brought me to tears. And by that ending bit, when you get to the final boss and you've actually found it as motivation, you're like, this is what it was all leading to, really? And so if you haven't already played it, go play Future Redeemed. If you were also underwhelmed by 3, Future Redeemed will make up for it, for sure.
Would you say that Future Redeemed redeems the game?
I would, Hoops. I would indeed say Future Redeemed. Future Redeemed redeems the game for me, yes.
Nice. All right. Andres, restart. What have you been playing lately, bud?
Still playing Elden Ring. Having a good time.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
It's kind of interesting because like right now, so I'm into Elden Ring, right? And I also started my own like second playthrough of Tears of the Kingdom. So it's like a little bit of a comparison going on in my head. But then also like Dragon's Dogma 2 came out. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Maybe I'll play that next. And then my friend recently shared me this trailer of what's it called? Chrono something. I got it right
Trigger?
here. No, not Trigger. That's
Chrono Cross?
something.
That's something.
I don't think it's Cross either. It's not related to that.
Okay.
Hold on. I got it right here. It is 5 seconds. My brain's just
Not functioning.
out. It is called Chrono Odyssey.
Never heard of it.
It look up a trailer for it. It's coming out. Suppose it's coming out later this year. It's like a combination, like visually, it looks like a combination of Elden Ring and Monster Hunter in an MMO setting. Like an open world MMO.
Cool.
Yeah, now I think it's being made by a South Korean developer, Takao Games. They've made a lot of like MMO like things on mobile. So I don't know. This doesn't seem like it's really in their wheelhouse, but if you look at the trailer, you're like, whoa, that is like Monster Hunter, Elden Ring, massive multiplayer online. And so I'm like really kind of intrigued by it. But
I love the main girl's design is awesome. I'm
right?
looking at it right now. Yeah, with the armor set and everything.
Yeah, it looks super cool. So like I'm kind of hyped for that, but like, you know, all these games, they kind of, you know, like the whole medieval fantasy setting, like I've been just kind of really like it's been an interesting time. So like I might go on like a whole we'll see what happens this year, but I'm having a really good time with Elden Ring. It's still awesome.
Are you planning on beating it before the DLC comes out then, is my guess?
Yeah,
Okay,
probably.
right
Yeah, I'm about 90-ish hours in.
Whew.
So like, but I'm taking my sweet time with it though. I'm only just got to like the Atlas Plateau, which I think my system's only telling me I'm 33% done with the game, but I'm like 100%ing, maybe 100% is an exaggeration, but I'm doing kind of all the major things in the prior areas. Like I've beaten all the bosses in like the entire Red Province, like all the dragons and gargoyles, and then the Weeping Peninsula. So I'm taking my time with it, but it's pretty awesome.
Right on.
Yeah. That's it. I haven't been doing anything. I mean, I'm still playing Tetris. I play Tetris all the time, so I don't know if that counts.
Awesome.
Tetris is inevitable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I did see the Tetris movie a couple weeks ago, and that's really good.
Was really good, actually.
It's really
good. Extremely good. It's extremely
fantastic.
good.
It's also shocking how much of that is true. Like how much of the movie is actually true. I was like, oh.
I'm recommending the movie to people who aren't even fans of games. Like, I think it's just like it's just really, really interesting. Like all the dynamics. Gorbachev is in the movie, which I did not see coming. It's crazy.
I think the Russian thing that wasn't real, that I know like stood up in that movie, because I did the exact same thing you did, is I went back and I wanted to see afterwards, like, oh, what was real and what wasn't. And the only thing that immediately stood out was like, there was no car chase. There was no car chase with the KGB.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it made for a good movie.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a fun time. So they did actually put a business together though, right? That part is true.
Yeah.
See, and that part is super heartwarming. Like, you have this guy comes to Russia, meets this person, and like the actual then they start like actually like nerding out about like developing games, and they kind of like fine tune Tetris a bit more, and then they branch out and do their like that. That's a happily ever after story. You don't see that too often. That's pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
What have you been playing?
Roger Space. Are you from New Jersey by chance, or New York?
New Jersey? No, I am not. I was in New York 3 months ago. I'm from Chicago initially.
Okay. What is
You're still trying to pinpoint that voice?
Yeah.
Because it's my sound like.
Carry on.
Trying to get this.
I appreciate.
He does. You do sound very like New Yorker. You do sound.
You sound New Yorker.
Not necessarily in that sense, but yeah, you have a New York accent about. I don't know. Anyways, hi, I'm Favlam. Hello, good to see you guys. I'm good. I'm a Twitch streamer primarily, but I'm embarking on YouTube. This past PAX really has inspired me to just kind of focus on YouTube, and Twitch will be the side thing now, in my opinion. But I haven't been playing as many games. I played a little bit of Octopath on the plane, which I enjoyed. And I played so I guess I have been playing games, but anyways, and I also played the new Battlefront remastered on Switch because it was portable. I was like, my God, my childhood. But I wanted to show you guys
on your shirt.
They're eating potatoes. They're not playing.
Oh, that's a good game. Eating's a pretty good game, though.
See, we must stop eating, cried Toad as he ate another. It's such a mood.
Are they potatoes or
like it?
I know.
I remember the picture book. I'm pretty sure they're obsessed with cookies.
It says, maybe they are cookies.
I think they're cookies.
They must be cookies. Yeah, I can't tell.
They just can't.
They kind of look like potatoes. I'll let
like, but who would just eat like raw potatoes though?
Exactly.
I mean, they could be either.
I could see the argument for cookies. Anyways, what I wanted to show off was because I haven't been playing as many games. Like I haven't been playing the Peach game. I haven't played anything brand new because I want to. I'm going to start doing that on stream. But I bought some games at PAX. I bought Animal Crossing New Leaf. They had a really cool store there that was good. I bought Mario Kart DS. And inside of Mario Kart DS, ow, fuck, that hurt. I got Pokemon A Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team, and then Mario Party DS. It keeps going. This is probably the coolest get. A Japanese copy of Pokemon Pearl. It works too. I checked the cartridge. I checked all.
Did they have the language options back then, or do you have to play it in Japanese?
No, this is language locked, I believe. But I kind of want to keep it there because it has somebody's like file on it, and they were like halfway through the game, and I love that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh my God, it's someone's little story. So
make a video on it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That would make a banger YouTube short. You're so right.
I've seen a few YouTube videos of those kind of like things where someone plays an old Pokemon game. They try and like piece it all together.
I also now own every GameCube or every Mario Party on GameCube. When you're probably
they look wrapped.
Are
they wrapped?
They're in like a hard plastic wrap. Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
And here's 7. I have 7. It's in my GameCube physically. But I love Mario Party. If you know my content, I'm a Mario Party fiend. So this was the biggest get for me. The fact that I was able to get all 3, and I got a microphone. Wait, right here. I got the microphone. I think it'd be really funny to like if I could somehow record what this sounds like. into like my computer somehow. I think that'd be a really funny, like, all right, here we go, guys. It probably sounds like absolute dog shit, but I think it'd be great. So that was my gets from PAX because I'm such a little gamer collector boy. So, but yeah, that's me. I'm
I need to clear the air right now.
Oh yeah, what's up?
You were fucking wearing platform shoes, and the first thing you said when I come on here is, "Guys, Jake Randall is short."
He is though. I'm still taller than you even without my platforms.
Listen.
You're over 6 feet tall. That's great for you.
Oh, why would you? Why are you going around telling people that they're
like
short?
Tyrion Lannister just like running around. That's
because Jake has fucking tall boy energy, and he just doesn't. He didn't live up to it. I don't know.
All right, fair enough.
I just wanted to yank on your chain.
He's a 2-inch destroyer. Remember,
Jake, you're going to the gym with me now.
Yeah, when he said 2-inch destroyer, I thought it was referring to something else. Not kidding. Sorry, what were we saying? I cut Andre.
I don't know, but I think we just saw the creation of a villain.
I know. I think I'm now. I'm no longer, or Andres is no longer Jake's biggest foe. It's me. On this podcast.
Mr. Steal Your Girls.
Jake and I are always good. We're just like. We just, we're bigger like brothers. It's fine.
Oh yeah, when I say foe, I mean in like a I mean in
a loving way. You mean foe in a loving way.
All my closest friends, like it's funny, and like the closer I get to you, the more mean I seem. Like like sometimes
as it should be.
Like with my college roommate or my brother, people see how we interact with each other, like, oh my god, what's wrong? And they'll be like, nothing. We
love each other.
This is how we interact with each other.
Yeah, that's how Buff Daddy rolls. I get it.
Exactly.
Jake just took over from me and Andres always bickering at each other every episode. So I'm great giving up that. I'm good. I'll just host.
We alternate.
Yeah.
No,
you know, be stupid. A new F-Zero. That's not happening.
I learned my lesson. I'm not going to bite.
He's just trying. He's throwing the bait. Oh my God, Andres isn't biting the bait. That's crazy.
Poke.
All right, Eric Moore.
You got to be more slide than that.
What have you been playing lately, buddy?
Yeah, still Tears Kingdom.
You got it.
I thought I had Light Roots done. I didn't. I finished them up today. And
Light Roots.
So,
all right.
What is that game that you're referring to?
I don't know. Some
Tears
really crappy game.
Little, small indie title.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
fun.
Sorry,
actually, I heard it. I actually heard it's not even the indie title. It's just DLC, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
that's right.
That's right.
It's actually just a remaster.
There you go. Little bonus content, but
some sort of port. I don't know.
Yeah, I heard it's actually a Wii U game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's DLC for a Wii game.
Wii
game. Sorry.
We're bypassing Wii U. We're going all the way back to Wii.
Same difference. I mean, it's Wii U's just an add-on, so
right. That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
I really hope everyone knows we were joking.
I would hope that people have
Scott the Waz is in the comment section right now writing a massive review bomb.
What's our bricked up destroyer? You been playing anything lately, or has it just been with our feelings?
Wait, what?
Talking about?
You been playing anything lately, or has it just been our feelings?
I don't get it. Like, I've been playing your feelings.
Playing with my feelings. You sent me a picture of you and Favlam. That hurt me.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't there.
Yeah.
We were
sorry about that, bud. You could have come. I mean, that was your decision. What's it called? I haven't been playing anything like regular because I've been super busy, but I played a bunch of stuff at PAX.
Yeah.
I would like to give a shout out to an indie game, but
I
don't want to get the title wrong, so I'm just gonna look it up real quick.
I have a couple indie games I want to shout out but I also save it.
Not only was the game really fun, but like the people that like made it and stuff were like so nice. So like just all around, like I would just love people to support them. Oh, it's called Rightfully Berry Arms. And it's a roguelike game, so a lot like Binding of Isaac or those type of games, or like Hades, whatever. But in this game, you play as a little teddy bear and you go around and you pick up different weapons, types of guns. Like the first weapon I picked up, no joke, was a finger gun. So obviously right up my alley. And it's cool. What makes it different is that after every stage you clear, you can pick a buff, right? Like any roguelike, you get, you on any run, you build up your character. But every time you pick a buff, you also have to pick a buff for the enemy. So you have to make the enemy stronger. And if you synergize like the buffs you're picking for yourself and then make the enemy stronger in ways where other ways they don't get stronger, so you can take advantage of it, you're like using both of those to like create a build that you can take advantage of. So it adds a little like twist. So it's not like every other game that's come before it, and it's pretty fun. So it's called Rightfully Berry Arms, and that was really fun.
Right on.
Yeah, I'll show it here in a second, just to get the extra shout out.
Yeah, I think it's available now, early access on Steam, and it's coming to Xbox soon.
Mm-hmm.
This is, gosh, I can get the right one. Here it is.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Perfect.
I have a couple of.
Yeah, so
you guys can just pull stuff up. Like I said, I've never done this StreamYard thing before. It's cool that you could just like throw it right in there and then adjust the screen and stuff and moves it around.
Yep.
Yeah,
saves a lot of editing and time. That's cool.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I like this app a lot. You have to pay for it, but I think it's worth it.
It's worth it though. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that looks really interesting, man.
Yeah, it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
It's good. It's good.
Very cool.
All right.
So assuming you were talking about what you were playing before, because I was late and I missed it. But I'm just kind of curious what's been going on with you.
So I was just telling the guys that I've been going through my backlog recently. I finally got the chance to start up Sonic Frontiers, so I've been getting into that. And I mean, that's kind of the main thing I've been doing because like some of the other guys, I've been just like super busy lately. So not a ton of time to game, but that's what I've been focusing on when I've had the chance.
Awesome.
So
it does feel like this first couple months is very busy compared to like normally the beginning of the year, not just in terms of events and things going on, but like games as well. I feel like there's some big new thing coming out literally every single week. And by the time you get to the other thing, like I've got Unicorn Overlord sitting on my shelf. I've played like 10 hours of it when it started. And it's like I've had no time to go back to it. And I want to play it more than anything else. But then Peach came out. And then like obviously Rebirth came out. And it's just like there's even stuff like the new Yakuza game, Infinite Dragon or Infinite Wealth or whatever. It's just like they look so good. But there's not enough time in the day.
For me,
it's a good problem to have. There's so many.
No, it is a good problem to have for sure.
Yeah. For me, it's like I've always found it super ironic being like a gaming YouTuber because like doing YouTube like takes away the time to play the games that you're talking about. So for me, it's like, oh, you have the holiday games coming out and obviously just the holiday season. So like January, February is like the layover of that. And then for me as a Pokemon YouTuber, we just got that huge reveal of Pokemon Legends, obviously in February. So I've been like going crazy with content for that. And it's like just barely like this week and last week, it's sort of like I've kind of caught back up to where I was before covering all that crazy stuff. So it's like things have been hectic for sure.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like it's gonna like for me, like every day I'm just like, man, I just want to play Elden Ring. But no, I gotta make a video about something else.
Right.
Yeah. I gotta make a video about it, like what I discovered playing it instead of actually playing it. It's kind of a catch-22.
Actually, like it reminds me back when Tears of the Kingdom came out and we were playing that because I was making a lot of videos for Tears of the Kingdom when that came out. That was a really interesting challenge. Needing to play the game like 10 hours a day, but then also wanting to make a video every day on it too. So yeah, it's tricky.
That's the beauty of streaming though, I feel like, right? Is that when you're able to actually stream the game and play your way through it, it's like if you're interacting with chat, trying to find different puzzles, sometimes you don't want to be spoiled on stuff and you want just like the pure experience of not having to do it on camera. But I do find that like being able to stream it makes it a lot more manageable because then it's like I'm at least making something with the time I'm playing the game and enjoying it. But again, it's a catch-22 because then if you accidentally get spoiled on something, it's like you got to make sure that your moderators are on top of it. That's kind of how it felt for all of Final Fantasy. It was like my moderators had to be on it, and thankfully they were great. Yeah, removing spoilers and keeping me away from everything. So
for me, I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy. And Fortnite, surprisingly enough, I've been getting back into that a little bit. It's a fun game.
You can throw lightning bolts now.
Yeah, it's actually kind of fun. There's some things about the latest season I'm not like all sold on, but I mean, there's some fun stuff in there. So I never really was one of those people that thought Fortnite was like evil or anything. I mean, dude, it's just fun. You don't have to spend any money on it. Just play and have a good time.
It's evil. Is that I feel like I'm removed from all of it.
Oh, yeah,
it was a very boomer take of like it's the new thing all the kids like, and I don't know. It's just incels on the internet being.
I remember growing up, like multiple times my stepmom told me to get rid of my Pokemon games or had me throw away my Yu-Gi-Oh cards because they were
a popular thing, and it probably had bad press. It's teaching kids how to shoot each other, and then it all goes from there. It's just it's just
someone made a post like earlier today on Twitter. They were talking about how there was it wasn't the Game Developers Conference, but it was something like that where there was a discussion among developers regarding like really popular games on YouTube and what people think of them, and that do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I think I figured it out.
Oh, okay. Who I sound like? All right, let's go.
Like a younger version of Lewis Black.
Interesting. Like Anger from Inside Out?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I know him from. Yeah. I can't even. I'm trying to think of like what Lewis Black sounds like, where I could do it.
He has a lot of comedy specials too. He's in Accepted. I forget what else, but yeah.
I'm gonna look up.
That's definitely
Inside Out quotes. And let's see if I can.
Oh boy,
pull it off.
So the other game I started was Mario 64 today.
You're welcome.
Sorry, Roger Bates. I'm trying not to harp on that, but it's just driving me fucking crazy.
Like I said, if I sound like a celebrity, by all means, interrupt as much as you like. I have no. I take no offense that I sound like a famous person. That's a good thing.
Oh, that's great.
Gives me time to eat my Fig Newton bar.
All right. I think we're good on going through all that stuff. We have a bunch of topics we want to get to today, guys. Our first one's kind of a double-edged sword topic because PAX East and GDC happened like the exact same time. So that's what we're going to get into because, hey, we have people here that went to all of those things. So that's going to be a fun one. We're also going to be talking about remake versus remaster for a little bit. And, hey, we got a little bit of Zelda movie news that might be interesting because I think a lot of us are kind of anticipating what might happen with this thing, especially as Westball is clearly starting to shift to it now that, he's kind of done with the whole Planet of the Apes thing besides obviously marketing and advertising for it. So let's start with the one that only one of our fellows went to, and that will be Mr. Rogers Base, who went to GDC.
Yes, I did indeed. Yeah, where do you want me to start?
How is that all like? I've never been.
I also had never been. So I'd been to E3. I was lucky enough to attend like starting from when I was like 17. So I've been going to E3 for a long time. And there's a whole story behind that too. But like that'll be for a different day. But so I kind of was craving like a video game related type event like that. Like I feel like I haven't been to a dedicated one since COVID. And so this was my first experience. I was lucky enough to go because my girlfriend works in the industry. And I kind of had like an open week where I was like, sure, I'll come with you. And Nintendo happened to be hosting panels at this GDC, one for Tears of the Kingdom that was called Tunes of the Kingdom. That was all about like the sound physics engine they developed for the game. And then there was another panel they did about the making of Mario Wonder, where Tezuka was talking about the development process. There were a lot of like just interesting little things they revealed during that. And so I was like, cool, I'll show up to GDC. I got there. I picked up my ticket that Nintendo left for me. And then when I went to the press room, they were like, oh, do you just want a badge so you could explore the show? And so I said, sure. Yes.
No bragging, but continue.
No, Brett. What do you mean? Right. Yeah. Flexing's base. That's right.
You just grabbed your badge that Nintendo provided you and then upgraded.
I just meant to say thank you, just so people know that. Like,
just kidding. Go ahead.
But so what ended up happening was I went to go pick up my badge, and then I kind of didn't know what to expect. Like I had assumed that it was more of like a closed off kind of media focused, developer focused event compared to something like a PAX or something like even like a Game Awards type thing, right? Where people can go and just like meet their favorite creators and stuff. And it was just really eye opening and a lot of fun to sort of find out like more about how these games that I really love were made. There was a great Final Fantasy panel that I attended all about the active time lore and how that was implemented in Final Fantasy 16. That was really cool. And just like getting to meet all these developers and sort of hear from their end, like how they watch YouTube videos and like how they sort of consume our content, and like hearing the excitement from them through our excitement for their games was also kind
That's
of like
interesting.
yeah, it was a super fun
Yes.
little thing. Like at the end of the Tears of the Kingdom panel, one of the sound designers for Tears of the Kingdom came up to me and was like, "Hey, I saw your reaction to one of the songs that we did in Tears of the Kingdom. So specifically like the Colgera song that plays."
Oh,
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
one.
So
Right.
everyone's nodding
That
along.
one.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I like during my stream was like nearly weeping during this portion. I thought it was so good, like hearing this, that iconic theme from my childhood with the orchestrated music coming back. And he was like, yeah, seeing your reaction and everyone else's reaction to that like really inspired the development team and like really made us happy that people were appreciating our work. And so it's stuff like that that makes it all kind of worth it. You know, it's like people are out there watching us and listening to us. It's a cool feeling.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
And then the
It is
event,
awesome.
like last little thing I'll say is that like the event was also way more laid back than I was expecting. I don't know. I thought it was going to be like a lot more uptight and like very business focused. And while that was definitely the case, like it was a really cool opportunity to exactly right. Like there was, you know, a lot of opportunities to network with people and to talk to people about their upcoming games and upcoming indie games and find out sort of what's going on in the industry. But it was just laid back and fun. Like there were a lot of mixers. We're all just drinking, having our cocktails, talking about like what we're excited about this year. And the vibes were awesome. So yeah, I'd highly recommend it if you ever get a chance and you're ever lucky enough to go to GDC. Make a point to go. It's definitely worth it.
Sounds amazing.
Where is GDC at? Where's it?
San Francisco. So it's at the Moscone Center in San Francisco. Yeah.
Okay, that's a trek for me, but I'll do it one day. I'm determined.
It's definitely worth it. I'm telling you. It's just to hear the backstory about these games that we love, like, you know, how they came up with development. Like, I don't know how deep you want me to get into it, Prime, but like one of the things I'll bring up that was kind of interesting with Mario Wonder is how they basically, when the development started for that game, put ideas down on sticky notes, and they handed out sticky notes to everybody that was at Nintendo HQ. Anyone who works there from like the first years all the way up to Koji Kondo. And what they were describing during this panel is like a lot of the wonder effects that actually made it into the game came from sticky notes from people who've only been working there for like a year. And that the people who have been long-time developers at Nintendo, people like Koji Kondo, who, you know, obviously does like all the music for the games, he came up with ideas, and then the developers would see these ideas and be like, this is ridiculous, and throw it out, or find like funny ways to implement it, like putting together the sound badge and things like that. So yeah, it was really just cool and eye-opening to sort of hear like the behind the scenes, how the sausage is made there. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What was that expression at the end?
How the sausage is made. You've never heard that expression, Mr. Bricked Up Destroyer? You should know.
Get his ass. Get his ass.
How the sausage is made.
How the sausage is
awesome.
made.
Use that.
Exactly. You should. It's good. It's a good phrase.
I like it.
What? All right. There we go.
Yeah.
The GDC sounds great.
It's fun.
I'm
Very,
gonna
very fun.
have to go sometime.
Awesome.
Which means you're bringing me, obviously.
Damn it!
I have to bring a lot of people. Let's bring the whole squad. Do a podcast.
I didn't even know what it was. I hadn't even
Right,
heard of it.
we all go and do a podcast.
There
Right
you go. There you go.
IRL podcast. See, we could have done, Nate, if you come to PAX, we could have done a live recording of the
I'm
podcast.
well aware. We did one last year. We actually did a live show from the hotel room.
I would have loved that.
So was it just the two of you that were at PAX?
It wasn't there. It is what it is.
I think me and Jake. Yeah, I think they were-
Okay, so it was the two. Yeah, okay.
It
Because
was
what was that like then, comparatively? Because I've also
So
never been to
PAX-
like the full PAX.
PAX
yeah,
East, it was-
Jake and Flam. They were there.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is my second PAX ever, and PAX is honestly one of the best conventions I've been to. I mean, I haven't been to a lot. I've only been to TwitchCon. I've only been to PAX itself. I've been to a lot of like Pokemon regional and Pokemon conventions that, you know, they're centered around that. PAX though is like it's very much like what E3, not necessarily like E3 is media focused. This is like all, you know, crowd focused. And the first half of the convention center is all video games and a lot of indie developers and also like senior capstone design from game developers, which is really cool to see. And then you have a lot of other things like other big names like Nintendo, Final Fantasy, whole bunch of stuff. We had, there was the studio that makes Baldur's Gate. They had a massive booth there. They had hired cosplayers to walk around. really, really cool. I got to talk to the
That's
lady.
such a bad game for like a demo.
Baldur's Gate?
It
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
for a demo. It is, yeah. I did the demo. And I was
my friend who had never played any Baldur's Gate wanted to play it, and like he just got so frustrated. Like first, it took like 10 minutes just to make a character, and then like that's rushing through it, and then
I get.
He like couldn't even beat the first enemy, and he got frustrated and walked away. And he had like 10 minutes left.
I feel like they should have had it to where they just had like the NPCs playable, which I get the whole point is like you make your own character and your own thing. But like in terms of the demo, in terms of like showing off the game mechanics, I think that would have been a better way to kind of express the game and like express how the game flows. And you did like a mission.
Yeah,
I think the demo was too much because again, some people will spend 5 minutes designing their character and some people will spend an hour. You know, they will get every little detail right. And yeah, so I'm one of those people who spends an hour. No, but I wanted to talk about, there was 3 experiences I had that I think stuck out to me. I stole I'm sadly not clouded enough to get a media badge, but my friend Brandon Pragmagic is, and I stole his media badge for one day to kind of, go around and talk to people. Cause I am still a content creator. It's not like I'm lying when I go up to them and say that. And so I went to the Nintendo booth and they gave me Nintendo. That was one frustrating thing, is the Nintendo booth at PAX this year was an extension of Pokemon. They had all of the Pokemon games on display for demo, and
there was no Nintendo
really cool things.
There's nothing else Nintendo, just Pokemon.
I'm surprised they didn't do an activation for Peach. I mean, that's literally
correct. That is the exact thing I said. I said, why is Princess Peach not here? And it's what I said last year about Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. I was like, both. This is 2 years in a row now. They had games.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
That's cool. The ones from like Nintendo Live a couple years ago with
the big awesome Link statue. They had that at PAX last year.
Yeah. So it's been 2 years in a row now that they've had a major title that they could have easily demoed and would have been a way better experience for everybody wanting to be a part of that. And they decided to use these really old games, their IP that everybody's already played. They're really old, blah, 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 blah. And I'm a Pokemon hater, but it was fun though. There was a chalk wall and you got to take pictures of Pikachu.
Chalk wall was cool. You like got in line and then you could draw any Pokemon you want on this big chalk wall.
Oh, fun.
And then they give you a free promo.
Throw it away. I wish I should have. So
that was kind of neat. And then there you could wait in line, take a picture with either Pikachu or Eevee. That kept swapping them out. Which last year Nintendo did the same thing, but it was Mario and Luigi.
Yes.
Oh, cute.
And so it had like a couple fun things, and the other Pokemon thing was the exact same as last year, where you wait in the line and either play the video game or the card game. And then if you play the video game, you got like free stickers. If you play the card game, you got a free 30 card deck.
Nice.
Which actually think is very cool and very. I mean, if you've done it once, I think there's no need to do it a second time because the actual cards haven't changed. But that is literally that last year's PAX, that TCG demo. That is what got me to play the game competitively, and I play the game competitively now, like the card game.
It does matter.
I'm curious.
I have 3 decks. I'm kind of juggling between right now. Sheehan Pal, Charizard, and Torterra, because those are like the 3. So I think I'm gonna go to Orlando with Sheehan Pal, but we'll see. I don't know.
Good luck.
Two other experiences I wanted to say. I know I'm sorry, I'm rambling. It's the podcast though, so I'll do this. I'll save the best one for last. So this one was I don't know how to say this. Scopy. It's spelled Skopje. And it is also a roguelike. It's a 3D roguelike in the style of Borderlands, where there's like a city and it's taken over by not necessarily zombies, but these like weird zombie technoid, whatever humans that get harder the further outside the city you go. And the goal is to get outside of the city and you notify the general and stop him from nuking the city, saying like, oh, there's people inside. So the goal is to get outside the city. And it's just, there's many different paths you can take, and your upgrades like hold over into the next run. It was very cool. I only got to play for about 30 minutes, but it was a good demo. It was, if you like that kind of like first person shooter survival collectathon, and then you're trying to, and especially that roguelike aspect of it, that's your move. It's a very good game. I think you can wishlist. It says right here, wishlist on Steam. Very good.
Right on.
And the second game that I played that I think I fell in love with, That's what I'm sharing my screen with now, actually, Nate, is this game called Cricket, Jay's really particular game. And the point of this game is it's basically imagine the story of like Earthbound and like the overworld of Earthbound, but then the battle mechanics of Octopath and Paper Mario kind of combined into
You're selling this. I'm like,
yeah.
No,
Yeah,
Octopath and Paper Mario. That sounds incredible.
It's
kinda
It looks like
genuinely
a cartoon kind of too, like more of a modern.
No, it is. Yeah, it genuinely it takes the best parts of the Octopath Traveler battle mechanics and the best parts of like I personally I get really bored when I'm watching the enemy just hit me, and I love like the parrying system that's found in Paper Mario, and that's what they included in this game. And it's very here. I can full screen. I don't know why I wasn't full screening it. But it's very cool. It's a very I only get to play like the first like half of the first chapter, but in terms of like the overworld and the story of that part it's very Earthbound, and like it's like a bunch of kids are kind of ganging up together and exploring the world. But in terms of the gameplay, it's if you like Mario Party, or excuse me, Paper Mario, or you like Octopath Traveler, you would love this. You can see there's like the meter system that like boosts your attacks, like kind of how Octopath is. But then again, it has that parrying system. But yeah, this game's called Cricket. It's very good. Studio Kumio, I think that's how you say their name. Very cool guy. We talked for like a long time. And then I want to shout out the studio that's kind of like above all these indies is PM Studios. They're doing they're doing a cool job. Their whole steez is they find indies, they fund them, and they kind of uplift them, especially trying to get them to have physical launches. Both of those games I talked about you can wishlist on Steam today. I think Cricket said they were in quoting them, they're looking into getting put on Nintendo Switch. So
cool.
The second that comes, if it does ever come to Nintendo Switch, I would love to see it. So shout out to them. I'll put the Cricket's creators Twitter in the YouTube chat so you guys can follow him. Yeah, and that was basically my major like gaming as a YouTube creator experiences at PAX. I had many other experiences that we can talk about, but those involved a giant bucket of alcohol at Howl at the Moon one night. That was a fun time.
All right,
anyway, that's my spiel.
Jake, to this bad boy.
Yeah, no, it's interesting to listen to a perspective of someone that's come to PAX a couple times, because I've gone a bunch of times now. I don't even know how many. I think like what was the year they didn't have it? 21?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, they did have it in 20, didn't they?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, they had it in 20. I went to that.
It was happening.
They had it in 20.
Right.
23, 24. So I've been to 5 total. Yes, I had a lot of fun. One thing about PAX is similar to E3, it's like used to be a much bigger deal. And it's like become less for sure over the years. But the difference between E3 is that it still exists, and unlike E3, it is
that is a big difference.
Right.
It's made for the fans, like what you said earlier. It's not like E3 is literally for like journalists to get information out. This was never for that. This was always for people to come and experience stuff.
Yeah,
that's not out yet. I would just say now, a lot of the big companies just kind of choose not to participate. Nintendo, like, just by default does Pokemon every year to have something, but it's not like something they care that much about.
Just a quick question: do you think that's because of like Nintendo Live? Like now that they kind of have their own dedicated.
I think it's because a lot of the big companies after COVID kind of realized we can just like do our own online events just like they can with E3,
right? And
it just like kind of made all of that less. But what the cool thing is now PAX is really a lot for like indie games. And it's a place for those games that would normally be swept under the rug and covered up, and you wouldn't really, you might see them in a Nintendo Direct or a State of Play or something, but it would be the thing that no one cares about.
Sure.
Now it's like there's nothing else, so you can find those hidden gems, give them a chance, and it's really fun. My favorite thing to do at PAX is honestly not to wait in lines for the big attractions. Like this year was the new Final Fantasy 14 expansion. Baldur's Gate 3, And then they have like honestly some of the cooler booths are the ones by like other companies like Mountain Dew or Dunkin' Donuts. They're like kind of have fun stuff. The lines for them are like crazy.
Yeah.
Like the Mountain Dew thing, like had you waited in line, then like it would this big screen, like aliens would pop up and you would like throw dodgeballs at them. And it's like kind of fun, but it's like 30 seconds and like the line was crazy every day. I did get to do it the last day because it was like a shortish line, but it still like probably wasn't worth it overall. But I just wanted to do it. But like my favorite thing about PAX is there's so many little booths with games people don't know of that if you want to just like play games for a little bit, you can do it without waiting in any lines as long as you just don't care what you're going to play. And that's really fun to just go into it without a plan and just kind of wherever it takes you, just play stuff that you might not normally play. Because even if it's a game you really like, you're only going to be playing these games for like 15, 20 minutes anyways. So that's what's kind of made it better in some ways.
Yeah.
And then it's obviously really cool, especially as a content creator, to see other content creators you might have like interacted with on social media or actually been on the podcast with. Like it was cool to see Austin a couple days I was there.
I know.
Hey, PAX West. PAX West.
I'm trying to make.
They always invite
trying
me,
to make
but
it
it's
work
just like getting
because
a flight to Seattle and a hotel. It's like
I'm just really feeling PAX West. I feel like
I will say,
pass your invite my way.
as somebody who has never been to PAX East ever, and I barely went into PAX West, it's worth it for Nintendo Live. And I'm serious because like I went last year for Nintendo Live and I didn't even walk into PAX as it was happening, but there was so much fun stuff. And I feel like all of us that are on this is a Nintendo Prime podcast. So I have a feeling all of us like Nintendo in some way. I feel like you'd get something out of it if you go
I don't know
live.
where you get that idea from. Right? I'm just
I don't know why I think that all of us like Nintendo, but I feel
don't you see the PlayStation 5 back there? Come on. I don't know what we're talking
about. Of course, that's right.
Yeah. This is the PlayStation Prime podcast, okay?
Right, there you go.
The thing that made it that difficult, though. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No.
The thing that made PAX West difficult last year is the fact that it was a lottery system, like to get a Nintendo Live. So, like, I didn't get it. But that,
they weren't. You're right.
I know. I'm not clouded. It wasn't
you
clouded.
Just
enough.
register for tickets for Nintendo Live. You had to like enter a lottery for it.
Yes, it wasn't connected to PAX.
Yeah,
PAX tickets did not guarantee you admission to it.
I have,
but
have to connect.
I'm about to say, Nate, I'll hit you up this year.
That's if they do it again this year.
That's true. That's if they do it again.
Well,
because my goal is to go
There's
ahead and
no
be a
way in a million years.
All right, I wanted to say something. Right?
No
yeah,
way.
exactly. That so I was kind of like because we were talking about how like it feels like there's less of a presence from bigger companies. Like when it comes to Nintendo, like is there a chance that maybe one of the reasons why like all we get is like a Pokemon thing this time is because it's a little bit of a calm before the storm. Like they're not going to be spending most of their marketing resources now because
they didn't have anything last year either, and they had
is it really that hard to put a red?
The waning period, right? We're in the waning period.
They didn't have anything in the year before.
But is it really that hard to put a red drape up with their logo and boot up
the world
Princess
revolved
Peach?
around
Like,
Nintendo
really?
to you?
I don't know.
But like PlayStation's not there anymore, and it used to be. Xbox is not there anymore, and it used to be. Like it's.
So you don't think
it wasn't there this time?
And
it used
PlayStation, to be fair, actually has their own events too with like the showcase.
Yeah, and it's not the calm before the storm for those companies. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, so maybe specifically for PAX, right? But like with Nintendo Live, though, they may go harder when they announce the Switch 2, and that's to be paired with PAX anyway.
Yeah, okay, yeah. For Nintendo Live, totally. I thought we were just talking about PAX.
No, but
just in general.
I that's it's still. I think you're making a good distinction though. Like, if the bigger companies in general have just kind of pulled out, that makes sense. Because when was the last time we saw like? Because remember, like the Animal Crossing, so that was at PAX, right? They had like the Animal Crossing.
Oh, the little village.
We haven't seen anything like that since, have we?
That was either 2019 or 2020.
I think that was the cool thing about.
No, that was 2020 actually.
They took all that stuff from all of the other events, whether it was PAX or E3 or whatever, and they kind of just threw it all there. They had like the Smash exhibit from E3 with all the models of like the weapons. They had the Animal Crossing village that was previously at a PAX. They had like a little Pikmin 4 exhibit area where you could take photos with the Pikmin. And so if they end up going that hard, I'm going again.
Let me paint a picture.
Imagine Andres is like,
okay.
There's not a lot of like return on investment for them for doing that, but it was a cool way to like have Nintendo go viral. But what's one other thing that's changed since they had those like big displays is now they have their own theme park, and they don't need these little things to like show off cool Nintendo stuff. They have something doing that year round for them now. So it's kind of like if we're just doing this to go viral or whatever, because it doesn't like really increase sales for the niche amount of people that attend the event. Like, we don't really need it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That was the weird thing too, because I feel
also-
like. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm sorry. I think you could also point out the fact that the time and the state of the industry right now, not necessarily Nintendo. You know, Nintendo might be slashing, secretly behind closed doors. We don't know, but to prevent layoffs, because they're very, you know, their philosophy is, you know, we've seen in the past, they don't, the layoff should be like the very last thing. They're going to cut CEO budgets, whatever. The marketing budgets might be the first thing that's going, and this is marketing. So like maybe that's, I don't know. That's a theory. I'm just pulling that out of speculation. But yeah, anyways, and
put it back.
That was another. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. Rogers. I'd cut you off.
No, I mostly just was going to say the same thing, that I'm nostalgic and I do miss like the days of the big events. But like you were saying, Jake, like you kind of don't really need them anymore. Like when you've got PlayStation showcases, you've got like Xbox doing their own thing, Nintendo's doing the directs, they have the theme park. Like it's just not the same as it used to be. But for those of us that remember how it used to be, it's like, oh, I wish it was a little bit.
It sucks for the fans, because those things were really cool.
They were fun. Yeah, absolutely.
But that's why PAX, I think, will always exist in some capacity,
for sure.
Because that was always made for the fans. And if they don't have the big ones, it's literally been proven now they can do it with just indies and whatever presence other big companies want to have.
Yeah.
I have a dream.
PAX is like half tabletop, isn't it now? Sorry, go ahead, Andre. I just say
no. I just had
the
this
other part
idea.
Of PAX now.
I just had this idea I've been wanting to say for like 5 minutes. As I didn't even pick this name, someone made my name the Samuelson, but I think it's fair that I bring this up. You know, thinking about like the Animal Crossing set, the Breath of the Wild set for way back when, like, you know, if Nintendo kind of does go hard for Nintendo Live, maybe, you know, for this, you know, this fall, maybe by the time Switch 2 is shown, maybe we could have like a Metroid Prime 4 kind of like thing. Like there's a Samus statue, maybe there's a Ridley statue. What if there's like a little Metroid field? Is it though? Is it though?
I have learned in modern Nintendo to not get my hopes up.
I mean,
sadly, just
I'll counter that by saying that their job is to create things we want.
Yes, correct. That is their job. I'm just telling you. I have at least the Pokemon Company has taught me to expect nothing but disappointment.
Hey man, they put
which is not the same as Nintendo.
They're making Legends EA.
If you expect disappointment, then you're pleasantly surprised when they pull out the stops.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Anyways. But yeah, that was PAX. It was sick as hell. I played a lot of cool board games too, and I played some card games, and yeah, it was a good time. I saw Jake in a Luigi cosplay. He was Luigi. Yeah, it was cute. It was fun.
That's actually just how he's dressed normally.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
just like Luigi.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we'll switch it over to our next topic here. About remake versus remaster. Obviously, there's a lot of debates that go on there right now, like the 1,000-year door. People kind of getting really passionate about that debate on both sides. It's very, very weird. And then obviously Nintendo has other stuff going on, like Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, which most people just say, hey, that's basically just a remaster. Or does it even count as a remaster? Is it just emulation with new textures? I have no idea. Here's the thing. These are the debates that are happening out there. I just go, every time I chime in, I'm wrong no matter what I say. So
that's what happens to a YouTuber. So
yeah, and you know, Andres and I, it was his little show yesterday, and we talked about this a very similar topic. But I actually want to start with Hoops. Like, what do you think is like the real core difference between a remake and a remaster when it comes to video games?
Well,
Mr. Pokemon.
Yeah, you could say that.
I've
always kind of looked at remake versus remaster as kind of like a difference in like the bump in quality versus the original. So like with a remaster, you sort of get like a little bump in quality versus a remake is like a bigger bump in quality. The other thing I would say that kind of muddies this up a little bit is like typically when you're talking about remakes, you're talking about like sort of a graphical overhaul versus a remaster, which is like the same models or graphics or whatever, just sort of polished up, like the resolution is up, whatever. But that kind of like confuses me a little bit even though that's my own definition, because I was gonna say that Thousand Year Door feels to me more like a remake, just because it feels like that polish is there that a remake.
Can I just say something real quick?
Yeah,
that's like I think a problem with this conversation is just like whenever it comes up is that like there's two different kinds of remakes. There is a remake where it's made from the ground up, but it's the exact same game. It's like all the graphics are nicer, but it's like everything is 1-to-1. And then there's remakes like Resident Evil 4 remake, where the entire game is reimagined and also built from the ground up, but as a brand new experience. And we really shouldn't like those are both remakes. Like one is the exact same game, just like better controls and nicer looking, and that's still a remake. And then, but I think you were right on with like your definition of remaster, where it's like literally the same code, but just like the graphics are enhanced. Maybe they add a little bit of like more modern controls or something like that. But like the problem is like a lot of people will say like remake is only like what the Resident Evil 4 remake is. Like that's the only way it can be a remake. But no, like if it's like completely built up, even if it's exactly the same, that's still a remake. You just have to clarify a couple of things, which is whether it's built from the ground up or not, and whether it's reimagined or not. So it can be a non-reimagined remake is what I think the term should be basically, or a reimagined remake. And I think those are important, just like distinctions to include.
To me, it's a spectrum, right? Like you have straight port, you have remaster, you have remake, and then you have reimagining. So I would say, like in the case of Final Fantasy VII Remake, reimagined.
Well, that's neither actually. That's a sequel.
I know. We've talked about this, but it's just like let's just use Resident Evil 4 because that's been reimagined. Like they literally went back and it's a different game now. But then it still gets a little muddied because in the case of Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, I think it's a remake because it's literally a new art style, new animations, new lighting engine. It's probably running on something based off what they did for Origami King as opposed to the original game, which according to developers, that wouldn't be a remaster then if it is not using the same code anymore, which it's hard to confirm. But we also know it's going to have new content. Like there's a purple toad, which did not exist in the prior game. And they said there's going to be new quality of life features. So like that's some of the game has been reimagined. Like the original game was 4:3. This is widescreen. The layout of the environments are slightly different now. The perspectives are slightly different. So, you know, I would still say it's a remake, but there have been elements that have been reimagined. So, you know, it's tough, but I feel like Hoops didn't get a chance to really finish his thought there.
Yeah, well, sorry about I'm no, you're good. I'm glad you mentioned that though, because the reason why I think Thousand Year Door is like a good starting point for this conversation is because to me, I feel like Thousand Year Door has enough of that bump to where it feels like a remake, but then like I was talking about with sort of like the difference between remaster and remake with the sort of like jump in quality that kind of makes Thousand Year Door feel like a remaster too, is that like even though you have it looking so much more polished compared to the original, it's still like the same, I guess, art style, if you will, like the same graphics. Like it just kind of looks cleaner, at least in my opinion anyway. But at the and that would sort of lean in the direction of remaster because it's like, oh, they're not like the models aren't overhauled. It's not like they're making everything like sort of drastically appear different compared to the original, but you can't really do that with a game like Paper Mario where the art style's so distinctive. So the
like the water is made of paper now. It wasn't made of paper before.
Right. Yeah, but then if you're bringing in like new content like Purple Toads and things like that you mentioned, that sort of, to me, I mean, you could, depending on how much of that stuff you add, it can sort of fall over into like a reimagining. But I think that sort of like seals the deal as a remake because like, I think if you're talking strictly remaster, I don't think you could have anything like in terms of added content that wasn't in the original. I think that's sort of a good hard line that distinguishes the two.
Is new con like okay? Because then it gets weird because like you look at Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which has like a whole extra mini campaign.
Yeah, I
and
would
also
consider that a
challenge
remake.
elements.
But
Okay.
like to go, I'm glad you bring that up because I am total agreement with pretty much everything that all of you have said. Like in terms of the distinctions between them from reimagining to remake to remaster. I almost feel like it's also kind of a semantics thing, and people can kind of just like feel how they feel about it each way. Because for me personally, right, I think some people would try and attempt to classify the Luigi's Mansion 2 HD thing as like a remake, but it is not to me. Personally, that is like a remaster. I also personally believe that should not be $60. There's like no world in which I would buy that for $60. But
yeah,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say this is a really quick comment, but that kind of opens up a whole other discussion about the should remakes be full price situation.
Right. And I think it depends on how much they actually like polish the game, right? Whereas I don't feel the same way about the Thousand Year Door remake. I think that looks interesting enough, looks different enough. They've cleaned it up nice enough where I go, okay, I can justify my purchase for this. And I think even one step further, like something else that both of you have brought up earlier, which I think is kind of interesting. People don't really talk about it in terms of remakes, is like the Legends series. I would even say there's an argument to be made for Legends kind of going along with what Jake said earlier too, with like Final Fantasy, where Legends I feel almost falls into this like sequel / reimagining category that we're seeing a lot more too. Where you're
talking about Pokemon Legends?
Pokemon Legends, yeah.
Okay.
Where I feel like Arceus is almost a reimagining of Sinnoh while also being like a weird sequel, right? Where in which you're getting a lot of things that connect to that original game, but it's obviously that was meant to be like the quote unquote remake, reimagining, whatever. Right. And I feel like you look at Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, that is like a 1-to-1. It was a remake, right? But it was very bare bones. It was like, we're taking this, we're polishing it up, we're making it look nice, and we're going to chuck it out there. Whereas I feel like the experience of a full reimagining, something more along the lines of like a Final Fantasy VII remake or rebirth or whatever, to me is like more along the lines of Legends, which is I feel like why a lot of people may be connected with that in a way that, you know, they were maybe upset for having to pay that amount of money for something like Brilliant Diamond or Shining Pearl, which really didn't add that much new content.
I think that like no one has, I can't think of an example where anyone's ever complained about paying full price for a reimagining.
No
one has ever.
If you're different enough and you provide enough good new content, then I don't think
it's technically a remake.
Yes,
but it's 1-to-1, or it's literally a remaster. That's when people have a problem with full price. Anytime a reimagining has come out, that people treat that like as being worth a new game.
Yeah.
I just want to say, as is related, bless the poor Nintendo booth runner's soul. They were pitching the demos to us, right? And they looked at me. They're like, "Yeah, we got Detective Pikachu, we've got Scarlet and Violet, we got Legacy Arceus," and I was like, "That's it, you got it, good job."
Legacy Arceus.
Legacy.
Yeah,
let's go.
I know.
Oh,
I was like, "Oh, you poor thing." You don't have a clue what you're talking about.
Someone in the chat brought up just news about the F-Zero 99 update that just came out. And I think that's also an interesting thing to throw into this discussion too, right?
It's been reimagined.
F-Zero, yeah, exactly. It's like that takes the courses from the original F-Zero, but is doing something really unique and fun and different with it. And kind of going back to what everyone's been saying, again, it's like nobody's complaining about that because it feels so different and fun and is a new spin on it. And I think, you know, more games that try to do that with their reimaginings or their remakes or whatever, I think the better off the industry is going to be. But there's definitely also a place for, you know, remake titles along the lines of something like a Paper Mario, or like I would, you know, you brought up earlier, Andres, the whole thing with Xenoblade. I would consider Definitive Edition to be in the same realm that what's it called, Paper Mario's in, because the game does get polished up. It's still a little ugly looking in places, but it does look
There's some artifacts
in the original game for sure.
Yeah.
It adds a lot of new content with the new added bit with Melia in it, and a lot of the music is redone as well. So I feel like there's enough that's different there and enough quality of life features that make it like where you won't ever want to go back and play the Wii game ever again. It's like it makes that game archaic, and now this is the definitive way, no pun intended, to play that game. So
yeah, it's interesting. So obviously we don't have Thousand Year Door in our hands, right? So it's hard to say with 100% certainty. But my perspective is with Thousand Year Door because I look at it and everything is different, like art style wise, right? And so I think that game is likely been like 100% redone or like 99% redone, right? And then I look at Definitive Edition in terms of the main campaign, I would say it's maybe like 95% done, right? But it does have this other extensive campaign, and they use the Bionic Shoulder that was like cut content. They made that into its own thing. And there is a lot of like new content in there. And as you said, there's a lot of improvements too. So like the overall package, like the way I've always looked at Definitive Edition, they've made it into effectively a modern Xenoblade game. And maybe that's really all that matters, right? Because in the case of Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door, if you haven't played it before, by the way, I never finished 1,000 Year Door on GameCube. I didn't own it. I've only like enjoyed it at friends' houses. So for me, this is effectively a new Paper Mario game. So it's definitely worth $60. I might even have paid 70 for it, but I'm not going to ask for something they're not doing, right? But
Rick, come on, don't say that.
It's worth it. But
$80. I'll pay $80 for the new.
Don't give them any ideas.
I know. I'll pay 100, 120.
Sold 120. Sold.
It's a bid. We're bidding for it. Yeah.
Well, that's a good point though with the whole like how much is a remake worth, because people will always bring up the argument, well, a remake of an old game or a remaster shouldn't be the same full price because it's like a 10-20-year-old game. Well, what if you're someone like Andres who never played the game? It is effectively a new game for them. So I think it's kind of sort of like an integrity thing, like how much work did they really put into it? But I feel like in terms of the game itself and like the value that it's offering, like I think, for example, with Paper Mario, no one should be complaining about the price of that because people were begging for it forever. So it's like if something like that happens, like with the Metroid Prime remasters, for instance, I think there was a little bit of a discussion on that, whether or not the price was justified. Well, it's like everyone was like begging for that forever.
Not to cut you off, I just as a quick reminder, how much was Metroid Prime remastered?
$40.
Right.
Yeah,
I was gonna say the same thing, which is like I don't think it is about integrity. I think it's about how much I can get away with charging. Because
I feel like Metroid Prime remastered for 40 is pretty good.
More work.
No, that is
pretty incredibly insane.
Honestly, I think Metroid Prime Remastered should be a $60 game.
Yeah,
it could have been. Yeah, and I don't know.
No one would have complained about it because it's arguably the most visually impressive game on Switch. It's in that conversation.
Like if it was $60, just for the sake of this example, I don't necessarily feel like people should be able to complain because it's a game that was so hotly requested. So it's like if they give it to you, take the price that they give it to you for, type of thing.
As long as it's like wonder too, good quality. Like that was a GameCube game, obviously, and we also have to take into consideration like the secondhand market and how much some of those games are now like cranked up. Like what's the Fire Emblem that's on there? $120, 130 or something to try to get that again. Melee's absurd pricing. It's like I feel like if you look back at Metroid Prime or Paper Mario and you tried to get that initial thing, like I haven't done research on this, but I would be curious to know from one of you if you have. If you were familiar with like what the prices were before, if maybe the remakes or the re-releases have brought down the prices of those initial games. Oh, there you go then. Okay, well, great. Yeah. So that's another like added bonus to this.
Metroid Prime 2 Echoes on GameCube is currently $82.26 on Amazon.
So if they end up doing
Metroid Prime 1?
Yeah, the first one on GameCube.
$27.94.
Yeah. Wow, that's insane how much it brings it down.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Wow. You brought up. Oh, go ahead. No, you go ahead. Oops.
Oh, well, this is like unrelated, but it just reminded me of how everyone is always asking, especially around this time of year, for like the Pokemon games to get re-released on Nintendo Switch Online or something like that. And that reason you just mentioned is the reason why it will either very seldom happen or never happen, because the Pokemon Company, I personally believe, likes the fact that the resale value of the games is so high because it artificially like makes the Pokemon brand more valuable. So I feel like there's sort of like a stock that they take in having those games be so valuable, which I feel like is part of the reason why they don't really like to release them that often.
Makes sense.
So. Yeah. I'll hold my opinions on that.
So who's
I
buying the
also
Wii? You
think
mentioned
that-
HD.
With the Wii U, Nintendo, I think one of the hottest sellers and like the only thing that people like to do on their Wii U's was buy the virtual console games, and made like every indie studio or third party game sell terrible because people would just buy virtual games over like those things. And that's why a lot of companies started to go away, not just because the Wii U like sold like shit, but like literally those like them selling those games on virtual console took away from third party sales and even their own game sales because people were just not hyped about it. And I think that's one of the reasons why there was no virtual consoles to Switch, and they were very careful with only like doing a little bit and not making it so you could buy it, so people would buy like all those like eShop hidden gems and whatever, and Nintendo's own new games or new IPs, whatever they were doing, like them selling. Yes, they would make money, but that would take away from sales of other games on the system. People that don't buy every single game would buy a lot more nostalgic stuff and be a lot less willing to try new stuff, which would in turn hurt the next sales for those games. And I think Nintendo just felt that strongly with the Wii U. And even though that system sold very poorly, it was a very small thing, I think that made them very weary. And like they just, now that the Switch is like ending, they're cool with like putting out a lot more. It's a nice thing to do before going to their next console. It's not like it's gonna, everyone's already gotten to eat, right? Like on the original Switch. And I think we can probably, I think we can probably expect to see a similar thing with Switch 2, where maybe they'll give us a little bit, like a couple really big games, but I don't think that they're going to bring the virtual console back anytime.
Oh, see, I disagree. I actually think specifically Switch Online, because of the fact that it's not virtual console and you don't own them and it's tied to the subscription service. I feel like that specifically is one thing that will probably carry over to the next system. Just because
that's different than virtual console.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
I didn't say anything about that.
Okay, I misheard you.
I can see them adding more systems.
Definitely.
Like,
because I think that's like the added manufactured value of then having the price.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
Totally.
With you on that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I do agree with you. I think virtual console, as we know it, is dead. I don't see a world in which they bring back where you can buy the games individually, unless they purposely choose to re-release that game. Something along the lines of like a Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, or Luigi's Mansion.
Well, like what they're doing now at the end of the console's life cycle.
Exactly.
I can see that doing that at the end of every console's life cycle. Like, okay, we've beaten this system to death, sold everything we want. Now let's give the people everything that they've been asking for.
And it's a weird thing to kind of look at, because like I think those of us who are in the call probably feel differently, or might feel differently from people who are like the next generation growing up, right? Like I think we have all had the opportunity to buy these games on Wii U Virtual Console, buy these games on 3DS, buy these games on Wii Virtual Console. I feel like I own 4 different versions of like the original Legend of Zelda or like Earthbound, every system it was released on. And now I'm at a point where it's like I don't necessarily feel the need. I think like the option would be nice for sure, but it's certainly dropped like lower on my totem pole of things I definitely need from the next system to have a virtual console, simply because like the ones that are available on NSO, like I look forward to seeing what they throw on there, and I'm not committed to then having to buy it again for like $15 or something.
Yeah, I fully expect it's going to transfer straight over. Like everything we have on NSO,
I think so too,
it's there.
I think so too. But like the other thing is, what's interesting is with these remasters that were like we had the chance to play or whatever, the people that never played them, there's not that much interest. It's a lot less than you would think. If you can just look at the sales.
Yeah.
And like assume, okay, probably most of the people that played this before and are like nostalgic, maybe hadn't played it since they were a kid, but they're buying it. And then it's only not that many more who will also buy it. So it's not like this like awesome thing that they're re-releasing it for new people, because they're not buying it. They're buying the new stuff, and they're just not that interested. And I mean, it's like none of us feels that way or thinks that way,
right?
But for like the younger audience, it really isn't like exciting to them. It's just like, okay, whatever.
They want their Marios in Fortnite.
Well, it's honestly crazy. It's understandable, but it's also crazy how much like the younger generation values all of like the modern I guess like amenities that games offer, because like you said, we get excited about like a Zelda re-release or a Mario re-release because it's like nostalgic for us, but they look at that game and they're like, oh, those graphics are terrible, like the controls are awful, like why would I want to play this? So
like
they don't
Ocarina of Time hasn't aged well.
Yeah, they don't see they are just like they turn a blind eye to it because they just like look at it and they're like, why would I want to play this when I could go play like Breath of the Wild or something like that? So
right, exactly.
And that also corresponds to sales as well, right? Like Eric was talking about playing Tears of the Kingdom earlier on stream. I feel like you look at the sales for things like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom and the multi-millions, doing significantly better than Zelda ever did before. Like, I do think there is still going to be an audience, I feel, for Zelda,
For sure.
and like traditional dungeon, 2D, remake, whatever. Like, I'm sure they're going to keep doing that. But it definitely feels like the future of the franchise and like what we're going to be getting
Like
moving forward for the major games is more open world, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild style kind of stuff.
Well, I think, and go ahead. Your turn.
Oh, I was just gonna add that, like, I think I would somewhat disagree with Jake's point about like how the sales can be affected. Maybe for like a remake or just like something that's like just a straight 1-to-1 rehash. I think you can look at Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl as an example for that is. That's no. I mean, as in like that does usually that did hold true. But what I would like to say though is I think that there are certain special cases, like I think the Paper Mario game is going to do, like this remake or remaster, whatever you want to call it, is going to do eons better. And I think that's why you saw things like Metroid Prime Remaster do so well, because like you were saying, like
here's the thing.
is like the amenities were
so well
improved.
It sold what, 2 million, when another Nintendo game would sell 10, 20, 30 million.
Yeah, what were I am curious. Like, I'm gonna look up while you guys are talking the sales for Mario RPG's remake, because I know.
I would say, Andre, what's the numbers? I'm surprised our Metroid guy doesn't know.
I haven't said anything.
What's our numbers? Tell them.
I think the RPG numbers were like 3 million last time I saw
Prime Remastered is above a million.
That.
Some people think it's around 1.5. So when Jake said 2 million, I was like, I'll let Prime Remastered pretend to have 2 million.
I looked this up. I was unaware of this.
You gotta round it up.
This is incredible. I didn't even realize it sold.
Like Mario RPG did pretty good for the holiday.
Yeah, it says throughout the entire run of the original Super Mario RPG, Mario RPG, the original game, managed to sell 2.14 million units, and that in the first 3 months alone of Super Mario RPG on Switch, it sold 3.14. So
that's not a lot for a Switch game with that user base.
But for a niche,
it's only been out. It's only been out for a few months.
Them continuing to at least like re-release it in a significant way, where you're getting.
But thank you for acknowledging it's niche.
Yeah,
it's not.
It totally is niche. Yeah.
All right. Well, I gotta say something here.
Something like Mario
I gotta say something here. This is a relative term, right? Like niche. Like 3 million is a big freaking deal. There are a lot of game companies that would dream of having their premier title sell 3 million.
Let me ask you this, Andres. If they released a brand new Mario game right now, do you think it would sell like 3 million in that time? That would be nothing for a new Mario game.
No. Yeah,
that's
but we're not.
That's
but
what
we're
my
not,
point is.
Well, but the thing is, Mario RPG is not a mainline Mario game. You know that is
like a new.
Yeah, I guess a better comparison would be when this Paper Mario drops, to compare Origami King to when whatever the numbers of 1,000 Year Door does.
I think that would be what came out during Christmas, right? Like,
we could
there's
compare
a reason
Origami
why things
King
come out for the holidays.
Yeah, within that time period, because I think that would be a more fair comparison, because they are like similar game genres, and because the argument you're trying to make is that the remakes of older games or remastered
who's making this argument
don't do as well. Jake.
The remakes don't make as much remakes come, or like remasters come out of games that are like 20 plus years old, like we're hyped to play them, but like players that have never played them before, like younger players, don't care at all. Like if they came out during, if you've never played them but you grew up during that era, you're gonna be hyped.
What aspect?
Sure. So I looked up the sales just while you guys were talking about Mario 3D All Stars, because I think that kind of goes in line with what we're talking about.
At least 9 million. Yeah, I heard.
That's what it says, 9 million. And to put that in perspective, like Mario 3D World, the mainline Mario game that was on the Wii U, which obviously had a much smaller install base, significantly smaller install base than the Switch, sold 5.8. And so I think the justification for Nintendo, right, for re-releasing some of those older games, like you guys are mentioning, right, like the younger audience might not necessarily be interested. They're hitting on that like collectors demographic with things like 3D All-Stars. They're hitting on the nostalgia aspect. Totally.
Prime Remastered, actually, I think there's a little bit of that too. That's why they had the Shadow Drop, and then 2 weeks later, like, hey, we're still going to release a physical version. I think they did the same thing for Pikmin 1 and 2 as well.
It's correct. Collectors want the physicals, right? But but in actuality, right, like you said, if they made a new 3D Mario on the Switch, obviously you get
20 million.
Along the lines of Odyssey,
20
which
million
is
in like 2 weeks.
27 million.
Yeah.
Or even re-releases.
Like, and that's exactly that's all I'm trying to say. It's not like I'm saying those games aren't good games or people shouldn't be.
Of course.
Like,
so
that's not how I'm feeling at all. I'm just
sales
talking
don't
about the
necessarily equate to
perspective
quality.
of the generation that's younger than us.
Totally.
That we don't get to see often on this show.
Totally.
We're a bunch of old men. Thing that can be said.
Yeah, no, I have lots of friends with kids that age. Like, and
I'm not old.
Younger.
I'm still 20.
And like I see, and like Nate, I don't know if you can speak to this at all, Nate. Like,
what do you want me to speak to exactly?
Like how do your kids feel about like when remasters of like those older games? Like,
they don't give two flying shits.
Thank you.
They don't care about the game?
They don't care if it's a remake or a remaster. If it looks
so they just think it's a new game. Gotcha. For them, it's just a game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if when we were kids, it was just a game.
Yeah. That's almost the beauty of having it be so accessible with NSO, though, because I feel like then if for the kids who are growing up now, right, who actually do have an interest in game archives and older games or stuff, it's more readily accessible. They don't have to spend $15 every time there's a game that looks remotely interesting, right?
And also, I think a lot of those kids, as they get older, will want to play older games. Like, I'm sure lots of us overlooked games that came out like a little before our time. And then as we got older and like you know, whether it was through YouTube or another way, find out these games were great. As we got a little older, we went back and played them. We're like, oh, they're awesome.
Yeah, I've gone back and played a lot of Super Nintendo
for the first time in college because I was too young when they came out, and those games are literally my best, like, favorite games of all time. Changed my life, completely turned my head on like what games I like and what games I don't. So yeah, you're totally right. There's definitely still people who will grow up and find that. It's just not necessarily for everybody.
Yeah, and Nintendo understands their market.
Yeah.
And they want to make stuff for the collectors. They want to make stuff for that generation. But they also want to make sure they make the stuff that sells, which is why they changed the whole direction of Zelda, which is why they changed the whole direction of Pokemon and adding another mainline series to Pokemon.
Yep.
I mean, they know what they're doing with their games. Like, some of their marketing decisions and stuff are very questionable, but like, they make awesome games.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about just how they brand some of their games. This is also one of the reasons why I think Thousand Year Door is a remake, because if you look at Link's Awakening remake, Mario RPG, they just put the title right for their remakes, and that's what they've done with Thousand Year Door. And so what's kind of interesting about that, however you choose to define these games, right, is that the way they're being positioned, if you don't know about its past, you're just going to think it's a new game. If you just walk into a game store, a soccer mom walks to the game store and wants to get a game for little Jimmy or Tommy, and they're like, oh, what's this 1,000 Year Door? Oh, it's a game that just came out. Okay, well, they'll probably love that, right? So they don't even know if it's a remake.
Yeah,
it's just a
it's kind of like what Nate was saying. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But in contrast to Metro Prime Remastered, it's there. It's literally being branded as a remaster, or like Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. It's an HDification of an older game.
See,
so
that's
the one certain things
that
different.
Stands out to me. And believe me, I am like professional Nintendo defender. I love Nintendo. They can do no wrong. I love them. But the Luigi's Mansion 2 thing specifically does sit a little weird with me. That's like one big one. Normally, like these HD re-releases, whatever, like I'm usually cool with. But that in particular, what they're doing with that, calling it Luigi's Mansion 2, when obviously in every other region, it always was Luigi's Mansion 2. But here it was Dark Moon. There's something odd to me about them not sticking with the name Dark Moon and releasing it.
I think that's actually like honorable of them, because I think it would be more easily implied that it was a brand new Luigi's Mansion game if they stuck with Dark Moon.
If they just called it
Luigi's Mansion 3 exists on the Switch, calling it 2 HD is a lot more clear that this isn't brand new. So I kind of like that they're doing that.
Yeah.
It also gives me hope that they're going to re-release Luigi's Mansion 1.
I think what I mean is
explain it.
What I mean is like I think they could have called it Dark Moon HD, but instead they're calling it Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, which could potentially confuse some consumers who played Dark Moon and were like, there was a Luigi's Mansion 2? Oh, cool, they're re-releasing it. I'll give it a try. And in actuality, it's like the same.
You really think anyone that played Luigi Mansion Dark Moon doesn't think that Luigi Mansion 2 is Dark Moon?
Look, I used to work as a brand ambassador product demonstrator for Nintendo like years ago after I graduated from college. The amount of people who thought Wii U was simply an add-on for the Wii, I don't necessarily trust consumers. Yeah.
I think most people did. Yeah.
And I feel like it might be something similar to that. I'm not saying it's like a substantial audience, right? And I'm not necessarily like degrading them for calling it 2. I just thought it was like an interesting thing to note that they're calling it what it was called in the other region. When again, I think it's very clear for those of us who are in the know that like the HD equals it is a re-release in HD. Pretty simple. But I think I am always stunned by the I'm trying to think of like a nice way to put it, but like the way that the consumers sometimes take the titles of some of these games and don't necessarily know what it is they're actually buying. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Welcome back, by the way.
Oh, well, sorry. I had to take a piss.
That's all right. Eric.
That's really graphic.
Do you give 2 shits about remakes and remasters? Or do you just give me what I want?
I mean, I give a shit if that's the game I want to play, but
what about when they mess it up?
Oh God.
I love when they mess it up.
Sorry, one particular game we both bought, Crystal Chronicles. We were so excited for that to come back. They ruined it. They ruined it.
There was such a good opportunity with that game too.
And we needed it too, since you needed all the accessories before. Oh man, they ruined it.
What game?
Crystal Chronicles HD.
What is that?
Final Fantasy. So there, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, the spin-off game that was on GameCube. That then, which also was great. Did you guys play it back in the day with the?
Yeah, we beat it.
And stuff? Yeah, it's awesome, man.
Yeah, they butchered it. Anyways,
no, my biggest thing is it just seems kind of arbitrary with Nintendo on like their pricing wise. Like it feels like some games they put in a whole bunch of effort into, and it's $40, and the next game it feels like they don't do any effort into it.
Right.
Like, who picks this? Why?
I could tell you.
All these remakes,
I think
they should be less, but I don't know. It just
I just think they do what they can get away with.
Oh, I realize that, and I realize, but it's just it feels like they put in a whole bunch more effort into some of these other ones, and then all of a sudden it's like, we're releasing these for $40, and it's like.
I can give you a prime example of that. So Prime Remastered with how amazing it as it looked, as Rogers Base said, best looking game on the Switch. It was only $40. But if they ever brought Wind Waker Twilight Princess to the Switch or Switch 2, you better believe it's going to be 60.
It's going to be 60,
even if it's just a port, even if it's just like straight across.
Yeah,
so
people got to stop.
The IP matters. The only one that was really weird that was. It was just a port was Mario 3D All Stars.
Yes,
where you got Galaxy
3 games.
And like we were talking about earlier too, it was like because of the collector's aspect, I think, is why it was expensive, because they knew already people were going to go out there. They announced that it was like limited. They ended up putting, was it like a month or two after they did expansion pack for N64 and NSO, then Mario 64 was available there. There's now no way to get Galaxy or Sunshine because we don't have
that's another reason why it was weird.
Right. But I feel like we talked about that earlier as well too, with NSO probably carrying over. Like I feel like at some point they're just going to keep adding more systems. We'll eventually get a GameCube one. We'll eventually get a Wii one or whatever.
Dreamcast.
But I think it's just going to take a little time. Dreamcast, please, bro. Please, man.
I thought we got Dreamcast. We got Genesis.
Nintendo doing another Mario 3D All Stars, and it's literally the exact same thing except with Galaxy 2.
Oh, for sure.
Or Switch 2, and it's a 1-year thing. And it's the only way to get Galaxy 2, even if you already bought 3D All Stars with the first 3. The only way to get Galaxy 2 is to buy
get that one. Get it again.
Gotta get it.
What's the next anniversary for Mario? Is it 40?
I think so.
Yeah, I
It's
think
40.
so.
What year is that coming up?
So
'Cause I
what's
can
funny
totally
though
see
is
them
that
doing
it has
that.
multiple
Yeah.
anniversaries depending on what you look at. Do you want to look at it from Donkey Kong? Do you want to look at it from Mario
From
Brothers? Do
Mario,
you want to
from
look at
Mario
it from
Brothers.
3D Mario?
Yeah,
Because
Mario
they've
Brothers, for
chosen
sure.
different dates for different things.
Well, when did they do their 35th year? Just figure 5 years after that.
I think it was
So
the
that was
35th
2020.
anniversary of Mario
So we're
Brothers.
coming up on the 40th
That was
anniversary next
2020
year.
when they did the
Oh
35th.
shit!
Woo, wow.
So next year.
Shit.
Literally,
I think
you
next
like
year we're probably going to
year
get a
of
new mainline game for the next Switch, though, right? That's my
yeah, well,
assumption.
they're not going to be
Or-
adverse to being like, oh, here's our new mainline one that launches with the
Yeah.
system. Oh, and by the way, 5 months later, we dropping a FOMO All-Stars game again. Have a good day.
Or they
though.
do it
did
the other way
Hey,
around.
they made sure to ride that year of Luigi train for a while, so I would not be
Yo,
They
surprised.
did. Oh
Well,
my
like,
god!
40th if they end
Years
up
of
doing what
Luigi.
Jake said and they just
Year of
re-release it with
Luigi is like
Galaxy
decade
2.
of Luigi. What are we doing?
Yeah.
I could see them though making every Mario game that's ever come out available on Switch before 3D Mario. You know, kind of it's
Cool.
kind of like what they did for Pikmin 1 and 2. They made every Pikmin game available. I honestly am kind of thinking that they're gonna make Luigi's Mansion 1 available, like a really quick, easy, like like Pikmin 1 and 2 before Luigi's Mansion
Isn't
2
it
came out.
all ready? Or am I
Yeah.
crazy?
Not
No,
no,
It's not
yeah,
already.
you would be
But, I mean,
crazy.
if
Yes.
this Luigi's Mansion 2 HD does well, I could see next year being like, let's just do the remake that was on 3DS and do Luigi's Mansion HD, which is the HD version of the 3DS remake of the GameCube game, and then
Yeah.
sell that for $60.
All I'm asking for is just to give me the straight GameCube game upscale Switch controls.
Yeah,
That's all I'm
I
asking
do.
for.
I do be loving Luigi's Mansion 1. That's my favorite
Awesome
game
game.
ever.
so
Awesome.
NSO version. It's basically.
Dude, I want NSO
Sure.
version.
Oh,
I
that'd be
want
awesome.
NSO, Star Fox Assault,
Yes.
online multiplayer, bro. That's all I need.
Ooh,
Kirby Air Ride
that would
City
go
Trial,
hard.
bring that baby
Ooh.
back.
Dude, we
And
gave
people
That
don't
would
care
go
about these
hard.
Marios, these Zeldas, forget it. I don't need them. I
These
got 'em already.
Marios, these Zeldas,
Yeah.
couldn't be me.
Nah.
Star
Give me
Fox,
Kirby and
baby.
Star Fox, baby. Yeah.
Turbo. Oh my gosh. Yes. No, yeah. I don't know. I had something to add and I lost it. I'm sorry. I'm sleepy.
You lost?
It's
It's gone.
gone.
It's
It's gone.
getting
It's
sleepy,
gone.
so
It's out of here.
you went to the bathroom and it's just all gone now. It just
I piss it all out. No, I'm just
No, yeah,
All
out
your
your brain.
energy.
all right, well, let's get to our next topic here. Because this is kind of a cool one. We had some actual news about the Zelda movie this last week, which no one really thought we were going to get this week. And it's kind of a not news, but is news because he's trying to build some hype for it. I can tell what he's doing here. So the director of the movie, Westfall, did a interview, which I don't know if the full interview has been published yet. We only have snippets of it. That's all I could find because it's going in some publication. I believe at some point this week. But the quotes say that I haven't this awesome idea. I've been thinking about it for a long freaking time of how cool a Zelda movie would be. I want to fulfill people's greatest desires. I know it's important. The Zelda franchise to people, and I want it to be a serious movie, a real movie that can give people an escape. And then they say, like, Ball even points to that escapism, saying that I want to live in that world as the driving force behind the Zelda movie. Then it says, that's the thing I want to try to create. It's got to feel like something real, something serious and cool, but fun and whimsical.
Tom Holland and Zendaya as Link and Zelda. Easy. Done.
I have a comment about this.
Yes.
So I've seen these like quotes that have come out from this interview, and an interesting thing that I saw in response to these quotes, like specifically I want to fulfill everyone's desires. Like I saw everyone saying in response to that, oh, well, you should make it an animated movie then. Because like I feel like the majority of people just want an animated movie versus live action. And I am like one of the few people I feel like who wants the opposite. And I was kind of thinking
since I was a kid, I've been wanting live action Zelda movies.
I was kind of thinking about this in my head, and I was like, well, I can understand why people want animated because it's like it's easier to pull off a good movie with animated. But I also feel like it's the safer pick because if you go with live action and you pull it off, you get a greater
live
impact.
action is done right.
No,
Oh,
dude,
God.
you
like-
no. As an anime fan, I totally disagree. If you give me a Studio Ghibli Zelda movie, I would fucking nut.
no,
like, that would be
that's what it would
so
have
great.
to be. See,
Let me
that's
say,
I'm glad you say that, and I'm glad you both said that because
Yeah.
that's where I am. I am with Hoops, and that I think live action done right is going to be stellar if done right.
Yes,
However,
I agree. It can,
with animated, I would not in a million years want a Zelda movie akin to, like, I wouldn't want an Illumination
movie.
Zelda movie.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
you don't want the minions.
not at all.
Yeah.
When Illumination was like, we want to touch Zelda, it's like, stick to Mario. And I'm glad they're like, we're making a Mario sequel. I don't want them touching Zelda in a million years. But dream scenario, obviously, as an anime fan, is like Studio Ghibli-esque Zelda, especially when so much of the concept art of those early Zelda games was like so obviously inspired by Nausicaa and like the early Miyazaki.
Princess Mononoke and Breath of the Wild, they're like, it's like a Breath of the Wild.
Literally, Well, and the thing is, you could even like, you don't even have to go the whole anime route. That you could kind of do like Avatar or just like, I don't know, just some sort of like 2D anime. I feel like 2D animation would really like, I don't know necessarily like. I think it could really translate very well, and even if you did like that paint art, I don't know. I think it looked.
I mean, even
beautiful, amazing.
If Illumination was right, if there was a world in which they were like, we are going to make Zelda, I would personally, and obviously, feel free to disagree with me, but like, if that was the case, and we had to live in that world, I'd be okay if it looked like Link's Awakening or something like that, where it was highly stylized. Cute. They wanted to find a way to make the universes work for like an eventual Smash or whatever. Like,
imagine they made it look like an old Disney movie. That would be awesome.
Right, like would be beautiful. The hand-drawn 2D definitely would have been perfect for it. But I'm definitely in the camp that like feels like with the direction they're going with it, I'm totally fine with it being live action. It's just live action has a much greater likelihood of screwing up.
Yeah.
Yes.
To me, the just the general like crux of the issue is that live action is riskier, but with a higher payoff.
Yes.
I was thinking about it personally, and I was like, because a lot of people are obviously comparing this to like the Lord of the Rings movies, and it's like if they had did a super awesome like animated Lord of the Rings movie, I don't feel like it would have had the impact that the live action ones do, because the live action just kind of has that sort of quality to it that kind of it just has something that the animated versions don't. So I feel like you can sort of like you have a safer pick, and you can still make an amazing animated movie. Like I would love animated Studio Ghibli Zelda. Like that would be incredible. But I just don't like, in general, I feel like the payoff is greater with live action, even though
I don't think that necessarily applies when it's a video game where it's always been an animated video game. Like an animated movie would actually be paying homage to the source material. And if you think how like impactful some of the games have been, to have an art style that matches or comes close to that, the way the Mario movie did for Mario.
Yeah.
Like we've had a live action Mario movie, and I actually freaking love that movie. But like it doesn't feel like Mario. And there's lots of reasons for that. But I think even a live action Mario that came out today wouldn't be the same. So I think it's an interesting debate because Zelda's a very different type of franchise. And we've had things aesthetically similar, like Lord of the Rings, like Game of Thrones. And so because we've had those things and we like them, I think it would translate really well to live action. And I could like see it. It's interesting because I don't agree or disagree with you, honestly, Hoops, because like I can see it like a live action being done right, being way more impactful. But like the other thing is I can also see an animated one because it's a video game. We have so much source material that's like that. I can see the animated one actually being more impactful as well. So I don't really know what I want. But I think we can all agree we just want it done right, whichever direction.
Yes, so this is my feeling, and I'm not like super picky on movies. Like there's movies people think are bad that I just thoroughly enjoy. I even enjoy the original Mario Brothers movie. I know people come at me for that. I actually really enjoyed it for what it was, anyways. I've always look. I love animated stuff, but I've always preferred live action movies in general over animation. That's just always been a preference of mine. Doesn't mean I don't like my cartoons and my animated shows, and I'm really
interesting, Nate, because people seem to really love the live action Disney movies way more than the animated ones.
Here's the thing.
Super popular.
But here's the thing though. they were animated first.
Oh, you mean like Zelda was? Interesting.
Actually, yes.
Hey.
Are we going to base it on these?
But look,
Well,
look at this though.
excuse me.
with the Disney movies, they obviously have a reputation for sucking, but people keep like going to them and they keep working because I think there's an inherent novelty with like a live action version of something
sure.
that just
Yeah.
provides a draw.
Well, for the Disney
Oh,
movies specifically, I think it's just more nostalgia. I think it's those franchises, they can make anything and put like if it's a Disney movie, people will pay to see it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there is something else, Jake, to say that it is crossing a different medium though too. It's a movie versus a video game, where the Disney ones were animated movies first, and it still stays in the movie realm. That going to live action, it's different. Where coming from a video game to a movie and changing from animated to live action is a little bit.
I would say it actually depends, Eric, because like you have something like Uncharted that's a hyper realistic video game, then it makes perfect sense to do live action.
Yeah.
If you have a cartoon based video game like Mario, it makes sense to be animated. But I think Zelda could really go either way.
Right, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying it's a little bit more acceptable, I think, coming from a video game being animated.
For sure, it's more acceptable. Yes, I agree. Yeah,
going from a movie to a movie that's live action.
No, I actually agree with you too, Eric. I mean, that's what I'm saying is I literally couldn't pick.
Right,
like I can see both being really good.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'll tell you why I really like the idea of the live action stuff more than the animated. I don't immerse myself in a lot of games where I actually escape and have that feeling of escapism. Like I don't escape into the Mario world. I play it for fun, right? So I'm not looking for a movie to bring me into that world. I'm looking to just watch the world and enjoy whatever it has to provide.
I feel like the Mario movie did bring you into the world, though.
It didn't really bring me in. I didn't feel like I was Mario and living in that world. It didn't take me out of my life. My life was still going on. It was just like watching a movie, but I'm playing a game.
I guess you have a different definition of bringing into the world, but that's all right.
Well, yeah, because escape to me is literally like when I'm playing Zelda, I'm Link. I'm in that world. That's me doing it. That's how I feel. And so live action to me feels more akin to trying to take something I've been feeling for 30 years and now finally make it real on a screen where I get to see this feeling I had growing up as being this character and escaping my life into this game. And now it's happening before me in a setting I can relate to because I can see these trees in real life. I can see castles. I can see all this.
Yeah. Okay.
That's also interesting to think about, even in terms of like the two GameCube Zeldas, right? Because I remember like the backlash that happened when Wind Waker was first announced, and they went with that really cartoony, very stylized look, and then also at the same time, like the eventual opinion on Wind Waker being like, oh no, this is actually beautiful and it's cool and they did something different with it. But then we also got Twilight Princess, and seeing that initial like shock of people seeing like a realistic looking Zelda like they were expecting when the GameCube first announced.
It was inspired by Lord of the Rings.
Excited for it. Yeah, exactly. I feel like there's definitely, specifically with this franchise, with Zelda, I feel like there is a kind of a demand for both. And I think that's why you're seeing both kind of be successful too. You get the stylized little Link's Awakening thing. You also get Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I think the big question that I have for everybody is like, this to me comes down to story and execution, right? And I do wonder if they go the direction of the Mario movie and have an original type story set in the Legend of Zelda franchise, or if they adapt one of the stories that obviously people have already known and loved. Because I also think that could kind of change what people's expectations are for this. If they decide like we're going to go with Twilight Princess or Ocarina of Time or something and do a adapted version of that in live action, could be very different from them doing a fully original Zelda story in live action as well, because then certain expectations come in with that, like scenes you're going to see in live action versus, things you're not necessarily knowing are coming, right? You end up getting a throwaway like cameo of Tingle or Ganondorf's the villain or whatever, and you don't know what you're expecting. And I feel like that also kind of throws a wrench in things too. So I am just curious, sort of like on the whole consensus, do you guys want an adapted story or do you want an original story?
I want an original story. Some of the themes adapted. Like I don't want to know what's happening. I don't want to know what happened and be like comparing it the whole time in my head. I want to just experience it.
Yeah, original story with a lot of references to prior games.
Yes.
I feel like it's a fine line to walk though, because in my head, I feel like, well, if they adapt a specific game, how do they pick which one to do? To me, I feel like if they were going to, they would do the original just because it's like that's where it started. That makes the most sense if you're going to pick just one. But then I feel
they can take a ton of liberties with that too.
Yeah, and then also with that, like you guys were saying, it's like because it's kind of harder to pick which one to do, it would kind of make a lot of sense to do an original. But then like if you do an original story that's just like all its own, I feel like it can potentially run the risk of feeling kind of like fan fictiony if they don't like pull it off really well.
I actually kind of disagree with that. Just a little bit. And just simply in the sense that I'll explain why, right? It's just like, so I find that with a lot of video game adaptations, the issue they run into is that you're trying to make a video game into a movie. The video game was made to be a video game, right? Not a movie. And so if we're trying to emulate a game too much, like if you try to think about Ocarina of Time or Breath of the Wild as a movie, you're going to have to change a lot of things for it to work. So like on my perspective, just kind of like, yeah, I'm not. There's going to need to. They're probably going to have inspirations from a few different Zelda games, right, and try and find that proper marriage. But I do think that they kind of have to look at this as a story, and the tricky part, and this is maybe where maybe they make or break it, is how do they tell a proper story for a movie while conveying the sense of what Zelda is. And so that's going to be the challenging part, I think.
Yeah, I think it just, like I said, it's a fine line because I feel like because like the Zelda games in particular are so structured and regimented, that proves harder to like translate into a movie story versus a video game story. So I feel like everything has a better chance of like kind of flowing and feeling like just natural if you go that original route, but at the same time you do run that risk of kind of making it feel like losing the authenticity of Zelda by just like messing up an original story versus, let's say, they just adapted Ocarina of Time or like borrowed heavily from it. Even if the movie wasn't like a home run, you'd still have sort of like that tried and true story that people would still enjoy to a certain degree seen on the big screen. So I think ultimately it's just kind of like, I think the better way to go, I would agree, is sort of like a story that's built for a movie instead of a game. But then you've just got to be very careful that you kind of sort of take proper inspiration from the games themselves, make sure it flows good and feels natural so it doesn't kind of feel like a fan film or something like that. Yeah.
Or like, how are they going to do a dungeon, for example? Like,
what they did with the Mario movie was they made an origin story. So I think we can expect whatever the Zelda is will be some form of an origin story, which are most Zelda games anyways.
Yeah. I do think the origin story side of things is interesting because that I think you can almost err on the side of fan fiction a little bit because it's a different Link, right? You could incorporate like him being a Kokori or whatever from Ocarina of Time, or you could implement like the Wind Waker stuff. Maybe he's on Outset Island with his like sister and his grandma, or something, right? Like you could incorporate other different aspects of Link to put into that, and I think make an interesting kind of legend for Link in the movie without like making the story itself feel fan fictiony, right? Like, because I'm right there with Hoops where I do worry that like whoever's making the film, right, they end up going, okay, well, we need to fit Tingle in here somewhere. We need to fit Rivali in here somewhere. We need to fit, and then that's when you get into this thing where they're pulling from all these other Zeldas, and you're like, bro, you didn't need to do all that. Give me Zelda, give me Link, give me Ganondorf.
Yeah.
I don't need all of this.
How I think it should be done is that they should make a good story that they think kind of fits Zelda, and as they build it, they're like, oh, you know what? It would be a really good idea to put Tingle here. Like, it has to work in kind of like in reverse, where they start realizing, oh, these characters would fit this role for what we're trying to do.
You write the story first and you find the characters that then make sense to be in that part of the story instead of finding a place for the characters. Totally. Prime,
Yeah.
I see you raising your hand, man. Nintendo
Yeah,
Daddy.
there's Joe, buddy.
New name. I know. He's chilling with his hand raised like we're in college.
Yeah. Hey, that's how it goes. So a couple of things I want to throw out there is first, obviously it's really easy to do a live action bad. We see it all the time. We see live action adaptations of books and games that have been just not good over the years. I mean, forever I will be upset that Aragon movie even exists. Man, like I was so excited for it and they butchered it so
How do you make elves without pointy ears?
But it's not even that. That's not even what upset me.
The elves are people.
That's not even what upset me about it. That's just budgetary reasons. That was like that beats the hell out of me. They put all the budget into the dragon. I'm like, okay, yeah, well, you still messed up Saphira. So sure. But here's the thing that here's why I wanted to be original, and it's multiple facets. One reason I really wanted to be an original story is because of that mess up factor. If you screw up an already established Zelda story in a movie, as we have seen several times, almost every single bad adoption is them attempting to tell a story from a book or a video game again in a movie. And that usually ends up not going over very well. So I think there's a much higher risk they mess up the movie if they try to adapt Ocarina of Time or the original Zelda or whatever story you want to do. Even though that might be fan servicey, I think one thing we do always forget with a movie like this is Zelda has an opportunity to reach audiences the video games don't. And even if the fans hate the original story, if the masses love it, it is setting up a second, a third, a fourth movie.
Can I share
Zelda
the image?
Don't do that. Zelda games might have a sequel, but they don't keep going for a long series of stories. So I think that the movies already have to be different than the games because every game it's like a different Link. It's a different Zelda. No, in a movie you're establishing characters people are going to go to the movies to see.
Eric,
so
can you put up the image? It fits his argument.
Sure. Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what the image is, but I'll throw it up here.
Trust me, it's not porn.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Well, you got me questioning it might be porn.
No,
I know. I didn't think it was going to be, but now,
now I'm like,
you worried us as soon as you said that.
I didn't mean to derail Nate's point. I just wanted to share this image because it serves his point, right? Like, this is why I kind of agree with Hoops as well that it kind of needs to be live action because it has the potential to reach that much larger audience, right? Like, this is stuff from like Nintendo's investors meetings. They look at the theme park, the movies, the merchandise, the mobile games to expand a number of people who have access to their IP. They want people to enjoy these things and then come back and play the base games on the Switch or whatever's next. So yeah, I mean, I just totally agree. And Nintendo's financials literally tell us that's why they make these decisions. So,
and I think it kind of like the situation is tailored to different IPs. So like with the Mario movie, Mario is like super mainstream. So, and it obviously just fits animation better. But I feel like with a series like that like everyone already has access to, it's already like ingrained in the culture and like people's public, like the public consciousness, like it makes sense to go the animated route for that. Whereas Zelda, for as popular as it is, it definitely feels like sort of blocked behind that video game wall where it's super popular, but it's not like mainstream Mario or Pokemon popular. And like if you do an animated movie, it might be awesome. It might like generate a bunch of money, but it wouldn't necessarily bust through that wall the way a live action movie would, which would obviously be great for Nintendo and would be great for Zelda as a whole. So like, again, it's riskier, but it's like, if you want to take that next step, I think it's like the risk that you have to sort of take.
Yeah. And, to add to all your points too, I think something else you brought up, Prime, that is like really a good thing to note is that with this, if you're not adapting it, right? If you are creating an original story, you have the opportunity to create this version of Link this version of Zelda and this version of Ganondorf, which Zelda is unique in, unlike the other Nintendo franchises. Like I see you nodding along too, because with Mario's Mario, right? There's no multiversal Mario. There's no older version of Mario other than like a couple other side things, right? Mario's Mario. Whereas Link, they have an opportunity to create an original story, an original Link, an original Zelda, an original Ganondorf that all have their unique backstory that can coexist alongside, the Breath of the Wild stuff, alongside all the legends and all the Links that we've seen, over the course of the past 30-something years. So
Links have different hair colors, for example, and Zelda. Like they're not. Yeah.
Do you guys think they're gonna go with pink?
I don't know about pink.
Is he gonna be blonde?
Hell yeah.
He might be a brunette instead of a blonde.
We'll see. Yeah.
A way that you just made me think of this, Roger. That would be incredible. Because Nintendo's obviously, it looks like they're very heavily involved with the production of this movie, so they're not just handing it off to someone else. I think a great way to do this would actually be to sort of treat it like an entry of the game, where it's like, obviously it's got its own settings separate from the game that came before it or whatever. And you basically treat it like an official entry in the Zelda series, but it's simply just a movie instead of a game. So like it would take place in like the same timeline. It would be like canonical events or whatever, but it would just be a movie medium instead of a video game medium. And that would
that's the cool opportunity they have with this. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. That would sort of justify the original story aspect of it, to where like it could be different. It could do its own thing because it's another sort of like retelling, just like the games do.
Yeah.
It's just doing it as a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like if you go, like there's that one extremely hyped Breath of the Wild trailer, and then there's also that one extremely hyped Tears of the Kingdom trailer.
So good.
And when you play the games, it doesn't quite match up the same way.
Yeah, right.
Like they're really they have the talent to convey a really exciting story, but because they're always trying to fit the story onto a game after the fact, the story's not as good as it could be. But with a movie, the story is the focus. So I think there's actually a lot of potential. And I'll just say this, because I know a lot of people were concerned. I don't think Nintendo would have greenlit this project if they didn't think it was if it was not going to be successful. I think Nintendo's extremely careful about these things. There's a reason this is the first time we're getting a Zelda movie. They have waited all this time because they're waiting until it was the right time and they had the right talent and resources to put it together. So once Nintendo said they were going to do it, I was like, oh, they finally found the way where they think they can make it right. So I'm confident it's going to be good.
That final Breath of the Wild trailer is still the greatest trailer I've ever seen. So
yeah,
if they can do anything like that in the game, I'll be good.
Oh man,
exactly. Yeah. How do you guys think the movie would be? Like the way I've sort of envisioned it as a live action, like I kind of envision it kind of like the Hobbit series, not so much Lord of the Rings, because I think that might be a little bit too dark, but more steering towards the Hobbit. That's maybe a little bit more CGI heavy. So you're still going to have a lot of very fanciful, magical environments and characters, but it's still live action at the same time. And so I think sometimes people, when they hear live action, they're thinking, oh, it's going to be like, an action movie set in the 21st century. Like, I don't think it's not going to be that. It's still going to be like this really cool, magical fantasy medieval world. But it's going to have, it's going to have a lot of special effects, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's
cool. No matter what they do, it's getting the full Hollywood big movie treatment, and that to me means even if you don't like the actors or you don't like the script, the environments are going to be sick.
Yeah,
something else is going to be sick
for sure. Something else I think should be noted though, right? So like the Mario movie was not critically acclaimed, but I don't think that was by design. Like I don't think that anyone within the team making the movie was like, you know what, this movie is going to be a hit with critics. I don't think that was their goal. I think their goal was to appeal to an extremely large audience and have it be really fun, which is exactly what it was. And so with the Zelda movie, I don't know exactly what their goal is going to be, but I'm just saying I'm not expecting this movie to win, all sorts of awards.
I don't think so.
Maybe, but that's not my expectation. My expectation is going to be a fun movie.
Because Zelda's a bit more serious, and I mean, Wes Ball even said that, like, hey, this is like a serious thing. This isn't just like a whimsical, free for all. Like, yeah, you got to have your fun moments, but he seems to be like, hey, this is like something that he's taking seriously, and he knows how serious it is. It could be that kind of movie that like Mario, I think was always just expected to be a fun kids movie that Mario fans of all generations are gonna love. That's what it was. It wasn't trying to like go out and tell like these gripping lessons and try to be a Toy Story
You
level
don't have
movie.
to reinvent Mario.
Yeah, it was just
right.
we're just trying to be fun. I mean, look at the Minions movies. They're rated like garbage, but people keep going to them because they just want to have fun. They just want to have fun. They're not trying to win awards.
I love my little banana guys, man. They're great.
They're not trying to win awards with those movies. They know what they are. They're just trying to have a good time. And that's what the Mario movie did. I think with the Zelda movie, it's actually going to be, I think, a lot more serious than the Mario movie. And because of that, there's an opportunity that it could be one of those movies where, I don't think they're going into it with the goal of, we want to win a bunch of awards. But I think they're trying to treat it a lot more serious than you've even seen things like, say, the Uncharted movie. I think it's going to be even more serious than that movie was. You look at like what Westfall has done in like Maze Runner, which was a pretty serious series. Now he's doing the Planet of the Apes again, another very serious movie. You kind of get an idea of what they kind of want this for Zelda to be. Like they want
the Apes is hype.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that they will go like the Marvel route where it's like serious, but then they add like the silly little funny quips in there? Or
for sure.
Yeah,
there'll be cute moments, most definitely. I think
very
totally that's such an I feel like tonally that's the big issue they have, right? Is finding out like how much humor they're going to introduce and then also how serious you want to make it. Because at the end of the day, it is still like a Nintendo Pictures thing. But I feel like so much of that comes down to casting. Like who they because I don't know about you guys, but like personally, I think this is one of those projects that you maybe have like one big A-list actor. And honestly, I feel like that's your Ganondorf. You get like an Idris Elba type for Ganondorf, someone well-known, beloved, someone really good for Ganondorf. But you make like the Zelda and the Link, you don't go for someone like a Tom Holland or a Zendaya or something, right? You go for someone who's maybe like a newer and up-and-coming actor who could then fit the bill and really come into their own with these characters.
Turn into just like they did with the Harry Potter series. There were a bunch of unknown kids.
Someone unknown, exactly.
And they became those characters.
Where's our next
movies back with them? Which
what's his name? I forget his name. Daniel Radcliffe.
Daniel Radcliffe. Yeah,
I think that like a Zelda movie,
he's done other roles.
Is gonna rely heavily on the companions because like you can't just have a movie of Link by himself talking to no one.
The companions are going to be a big deal.
Walking through dungeons, it's going to require like constant companionship, like people to talk to. So that alone has to make it very different than the games.
All I know is that when they announced and if it's nothing but A-list actors like they did for Mario, I'm not going to laugh this time because they pulled it off with Mario, and I'm going to be like, you know what? This looks dumb to me, but also, hey, you knew what you were doing with Mario, so maybe you know what you're doing.
Yeah, the only one
great point. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only one they fucked up with that one was like Cranky Kong. I felt Cranky Kong was a little silly.
I wasn't a big fan of Cranky Kong in that movie.
Yeah.
Sorry. On the topic of Navi, I was just gonna say on the topic of Navi, I think that's a great thing to bring up. Like the idea of potentially maybe even having that be your core A-list actor or something, right?
I actually like that idea.
Who's established within the world of acting, right?
Navi's gonna be Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson Navi would be fire. I'd be fire.
It would be so cool.
I'd be fire.
Yeah.
Hey,
my goodness.
Running like Tinkerbell.
Sexual Navi. Yeah, I'm down with that. Great.
Movie.
Yeah.
Dude, this is super random. Oh.
What?
You remember Hook?
Yeah, dude. That's what I was thinking.
I love that movie, dude. That was
exactly. Yeah, there you go.
Oh my god, she's like pink. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I got a secret crush.
I want to rewatch that now.
Yeah.
I'd go back and rewatch Hook. It's a classic.
Hell yeah. Well, I think they will hopefully they take it in the right direction. I mean, I think I could see either or live action or animated. Just don't.
I just want to say I'm also a huge anime fan. I'm a huge anime fan too. So I argue live action as a huge anime fan. I just think as Hoops said, I think the potential, is there.
I agree. After listening, I think I agree that like live action probably would have better long-term ramifications, but I think I don't know. I'm just
No.
such a simp
Again,
fan,
but
man.
depending
I
on
don't want to see
success, like,
Timothy
I don't
Chalamet
think-
as Link in the chat. Shut up. That's
Yes,
I don't want
Timothy Chalamet.
I do not want to. I'd be fine with him being in there, but I
It
also
wouldn't
don't want him as
feel
Link.
like Link. It would feel like Timothy Chalamet.
It would feel like
He's
Timothy
famous.
Chalamet.
He's too
Exactly.
famous.
Oh wait, I gotta get Epona. The chat my cat's apparently gonna be Epona.
Oh,
Hold
go
on.
get him. No,
All right,
Flem,
all
on your
right,
point.
yeah.
On your
All
point.
right, who
though.
are we casting in this chat? All right, 1, Nate is Zelda. 2,
Oh my god.
Jake is Link.
I'm not Zelda. Sorry.
Gannon
Then.
is Andres 1000%.
True.
I'll be
Okay.
Sidon. Can I take
I
Sidon?
want to be Midna.
Be Azora.
Can Eric be
Holy shit.
Epona?
No,
I
the
thought
cat's
Ruby was
Epona.
Epona.
Yeah, the
Oh,
cat's
there you
Epona.
go. The cat's Epona.
Ah,
There you
even
go.
they're even the same color.
Eric is
Perfect.
Beetle.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Hoops, your who do you want to be?
Tingle.
Hoops?
Yeah.
I'll let you pick. I'll give it to you.
I'd have been Tingle.
You
I
could
will
be
be
Tingle, or you could be or oh my god, what's her name? It's in every like Zelda's sidekick or like companion guide. lady.
Impa.
Impa, yeah.
Impa's pretty cool. She's a
Yeah,
she's
gender
a
bent
chick.
badass
You're
Impa would be
badass.
awesome.
True.
Flying around like, yeah.
Well, who could be
That'd be
Impa?
great.
Who would be a good actor for Impa? I don't know.
Ooh.
She could
the
actually
lady from
Scarlet. No,
Game of Thrones, the really tall blonde lady.
it depends on. It does depend on if you go like old Impa or like Ocarina
Totally.
of Time Impa. But I was
Totally.
thinking
That's
if
true.
you do Ocarina of Time style Impa, a Scarlett Johansson-esque character would be good. Just because
Yeah,
like I
absolutely.
feel like
What's the
I
name
get
of
a
the
lot
actress
of
for
black.
Wonder
I get a
Woman?
lot of Black Widow vibes from.
Okay.
Valid.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
valid.
someone
Totally.
someone who's like athletic, right? Like that you feel like.
Yeah, has that like
Sure.
badass build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking the actress
God.
for Wonder Woman. What's her name?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that's
Gal
awesome.
Gadot.
That would be good.
Keep Gal Gadot away
Do
from
we
this, please.
do we get
I
Purra
know.
in this?
In
And
fairness,
can
I didn't
we,
actually see the movie, so
I want Margot Robbie as
It's not the
Purra.
movies that are.
Margot
Oh,
Robbie is
Purra.
who?
Purra.
Purra.
Purra. True. So true.
If that
Bestie. You got
happened,
it.
the internet would just like explode.
They'd explode.
They could.
Dude, that would sell tickets. That would sell
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
tickets.
Man.
Nintendo, you heard it here first.
I don't. This is random, slightly political, but random. But it is related to video games. Sega just voted to unionize. So, and they are the first
Sega
video
did.
game company to win a vote to unionize. So, I'm a very pro-union
This-
person. So,
this
for
just
those
happened?
who are also pro-union, yeah,
Right
no,
on.
it like tweeted out like a little bit ago.
Ah,
Congratulations
interesting.
to the employees at Sega, and congratulations to workers' rights within the gaming
Is that
industry.
Sega? Is that Sega in California or is that Sega?
Let
like,
me
Japan?
find the tweet again because it was a more perfect union tweeted it out.
Interesting. Right on.
I found a
But they
video of
won their
Mr. Clean
first
and Dragon
vote or
Ball Z.
whatever. Hang on
What
one
was I'm
second.
looking.
Yeah.
Oh,
gotta find
I
it.
saw. I saw
You
Stealth
see it?
tweet
Oh, yeah.
out something. No, I went on Twitter. I saw Stealth,
Oh.
and I got so scared because I just saw Shigeru Miyamoto, and I was like, "Oh my god, what happened?"
Oh.
My heart dropped
It
whenever I
says
see a name on Twitter
it
now.
says breaking. Sega workers just
man.
won their first union contract at at any major video game company in America.
Right on.
And then
Right
the
on.
follow-up tweet says workers in the union, also known as the Allied Employees Guild, improving Sega. They have a Twitter now, like a Twitter won an important concession from Sega of America as part of the contract.
Yeah, for California.
Wait, you know what?
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so
Here's
it's the California
here's a
one, not
good.
Japan.
I think this might be
the
a
California, the one in America.
Yeah.
good casting for Link.
Let's hear it.
Robbie from Cobra Kai.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay.
Wait, I don't know who that is. Robbie.
Cobra, honestly, but those actors, I think, are like the right age, right?
Right.
Even if it wasn't that actor, I think that's totally what they should go for, right? That's I think the level of celebrity they should maybe be aiming for. Someone who's not super well known, someone who's shown to be athletic. Yeah, totally. I think that's like
Yeah.
the right
With
direction,
the original
definitely.
story, we got an old grizzled Link. About
Just
three-
walking,
No, dude,
walking
you
all
gotta
around.
you gotta set it up for more movies.
like an
Yeah, totally.
upcoming son.
You can't have Link be 50 by the third one. Yeah. And it's something we
No,
moved away
you-
from a little bit, but I do want to stress this as well, because Flam, you were talking about it earlier as well, is the idea of not necessarily like you had the live action or the animated, right? I think Zelda
Yeah.
again is unique in the situation where if this is successful, I could also see them eventually doing an animated one and having those coexist. You could have a very stylistically different animated film and also have a live action one. It really just depends on how popular.
Almost like
Did you
Toon
guys
Link,
watch?
right? Could maybe be
Yeah,
like the
right.
animated.
Yeah,
There you
no,
go. Totally.
exactly. And you guys were saying how they could take it in so many different directions, and that made me think of. Did you guys ever watch the Oh my God, what is it called? Star Wars.
Clone Wars.
It's that Star Wars series on Disney Plus. Where no, not Clone Wars, where they did a bunch of different anime styles. Like each episode was its own short story. Like it was its own story, and each episode was in a different style of anime. By different studios, like Studio Ghibli did an episode, and then some other studio like Unfo Table. I can't remember which ones they do. I think they do. They do free run now. Anyways, I forget I can look it up really quick, but that would be a really cool concept to do for the Zeldas, and you could even do you could just do like side characters, like a day in the life of Beetle in the style of Studio Ghibli, or you could be like a super like, oh, here's the final fight from Ocarina of Time, but in the style of fucking Demon Slayer, you know.
A Beatles Studio Ghibli thing could be like the perfect like short that you put in before the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that would work so well.
Him walking around selling things to different people, like hi.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like that would make such a cute, like little. It'd be great. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah, someone asked me where he gets the stuff, and he just bonks him in the head.
I'm trying to find this thing on Star Wars. What is it called? Star Wars Visions. Star Wars Visions.
Jorge, by the way, in the chat. Oh, sorry, not to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Just because you were talking about the Ghibli thing, someone donated.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this, Prime, and said, could Miyazaki work with Miyamoto, considering Miyazaki's history of collaborating with others?
True.
I mean, Miyazaki's retiring. Like
he's
gonna be retiring.
I mean, he's retired. He's retired 3 times now. To be fair.
Yeah, but I mean, Studio Ghibli, like you said, they've worked on the Star Wars stuff, and I mean, they're not opposed to working on other potential things.
Yeah,
I think it's just a matter of like it might not be their A-list talent, but I could totally see Studio Ghibli being working on something Zelda related in the future for sure.
Oh yeah. I found out there is a season 2 of Star Wars Visions, so I know what I will be watching tonight as I go to bed. But yeah, that's what it's called, Star Wars Visions. It's very great. As again, they're all like the first episode is like my favorite in my opinion, but they're all just their own little episode is its own story. They're not related to each other, but they're all in different animation styles, and it's really cool. It's really
cool. So we'll get to the Q&A section of the night. Remember, chat, if you have anything you want to submit for the Q&A, it's super chatted in. We already have at least one question. First, we just have a thank you coming in from Rock and Roll saying, thank you guys for constantly discussing everything Nintendo. Going through some stuff right now, and you guys and Nintendo games get me through day by day. Glad.
Best of luck.
Yeah, man. Good luck with what you're going through. I'm glad that we can be a healthy distraction for you. Next up, we have Boo Many coming in who says, what is one hobby or interest that each of you have outside of video games?
I love cooking. Just straight up, absolutely love it. Haven't had time this past couple weeks, but like I do adore finding a good recipe and then being like, let's experiment with this. Let's make it a little bit better.
I would love for Chef Rogers over there to cook me something, but
I did a video a couple years ago. I did a Shokugeki video.
I can't have anything but shakes for the next week. It's a whole thing right now.
I'll make you an egg rice. Yeah.
This is video game adjacent, but I do really enjoy like card games and board games. And I know those are all kind of in that umbrella of nerd. They're not necessarily like separate, but I like to just sit down and play some card games or board games for hours, man. It's just something about it. But yeah, that's mine.
I have a lot. yeah, I like card games and board games. Like, I'll play them all day. I also like
I thought you were going to say women.
Oh, I love. Yeah, I mean that's a given. That's a given. That's just like a natural part of life.
Well, I said or interest, so I'm just saying it might.
Fair. Beyond that, I like sports. I play tennis, basketball, but also like, exploring. Like you tell me, hey, let's go like snorkeling or something. Like, yeah, let's go on an adventure. I'm so down.
Okay.
Nice. This may shock you guys, but I'm into basketball.
No way.
Also known
Hoops?
as
No
Whoa.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never
Who do you
would've
watch
thought.
or just play?
Very shocking. Expose, I know. No, I
Favorite
do
player of all
both.
time. Go.
MJ. And then after that, current player, Steph Curry.
Right on.
Have you
Okay.
seen the
Choice, good
canceling the
choice.
90? Have you seen the current canceling the 90s trend on TikTok, Hoops?
No, I haven't.
Mm-mm.
So basically it's like a bunch of modern basketball fans like shitting on like 90s basketball fans, saying that or like not players being like they weren't actually the GOATs, they were just the first to do it. And I'm like, oh, but yeah, because they like
Jordan
were
would
watching
not
gameplay. I don't know. I don't have any dog in this fight. I'm just telling you that's what the
Prime
that's
Jordan
what it
would
is.
feast in this league like a joke.
Let me let me tell
that's
you.
what they
So I put on Netflix there's like a Michael Jordan documentary, and I put it on in the background, so I've like heard
Yeah.
it several times. And like the thing that's nuts to me about that whole team and run is that he went and won 3 straight titles. He took a break for 2 years because he decided to be done, and then the first full season that he came back after that, he proceeded to win 3 straight more
Yeah.
championships. So he
But
effectively won 6 in a row.
He choked in the playoffs the year before that, though.
Yeah, he did. But he came in like March. So I'm willing to give him.
It's not
What's
easy to
crazy
come.
is Bill Russell won
I
8
hear
in a
you.
row.
I don't know. I don't know a
More
lick
than
about
Jordan won
sports.
in
I
his
don't know
entire
nothing.
career
Well,
in a
Yeah.
row.
I was looking for my.
That's
I have a
true.
giant Bulls 90s like
Chill.
foam finger.
There
I
was also like
looking
what,
for-
like 8 teams back then. So
So it should have been
I
easy for
know.
any of them to win any given year.
I know nothing. I
But he
know
had one
nothing.
out
Will
of eight.
Chamberlain,
Zero
Will
dogs in
Chamberlain
this
was on
fight.
one of those teams, and he couldn't beat him.
Wow.
I'm not saying that he's not special. I'm just saying that
What about Scottie Pippen?
there are
guys? Was
more
he as
players
good?
now, and
Well, I
they're-
mean,
we're-
MJ
we're
wouldn't be
definitely
MJ without
advanced.
Scottie Pippen, obviously.
This
That's
is really
like-
bursting into
everyone
it.
acknowledges that.
I don't, this is
You
this
know?
has gotten
Yeah.
really productive. I know.
I mean,
I'm
look
sorry.
at the Golden State Warriors now. Stephen Curry's still amazing, but everyone else on this team sucks, right? Like Klay Thompson and Draymond Green are obviously like way worse than they used to be, and they might not even make the play-in.
Yeah.
Did they
I
win?
just
Did
want
it?
the Bulls to be good again, man. That's what I want. It's not
They
going to
are the
happen.
best.
I
anytime
need
soon,
to
but I
like
want them to be good again.
learn sports
Who?
just so I
Who
have
do
it
you
in
want
my
to be good
back
again?
pocket.
Oh, the Bulls. I'm a 90s
Yeah.
kid who grew up in Chicago.
Sure.
So, like, having gone to
Oh,
games in which
yeah.
Michael Jordan played, it's like, I want that back. And we
See?
had that very briefly with Derrick Rose, like around 2011,
For-
2012. And then
Do you want them to trade Zach LaVine?
I'm back and forth on it, honestly,
For-
at this point. I feel like Levine needs DeMar. I love DeMar, right? And I feel
Yeah.
like they could build around DeMar, but I feel like Levine is too much of a draw and too much of a pull where I feel like they kind of want to hold on to both of them. But I also feel like you trade Levine, you get some new blood in there, you build up DeMar, you got a stew going. Yeah.
Yeah, but also
But that's a
DeMar's kind of
different
old though, right? Like how they were talking.
good,
oh,
though,
yeah,
man.
shorts. He's good. He's
Yeah.
definitely good.
I gotta
Yeah.
say, Roger, I'm kind of in a weird situation with you being in Chicago because I'm in Utah, so you obviously beat us twice. But I'm like so
I
glad.
live in LA now, though. I live in LA now, so
Well,
even
let me
though I'm
tell
a
you.
Chicago Bulls fan, I live in LA.
I'm like so glad that I was too young to like be invested in that time
Sure.
frame because
course.
people are still salty about it today. Like there's stories all the time of like where the Jazz play, their Wi-Fi is named Jordan Pushed Off, or like they had this Utah Jazz like Jordan brand t-shirt at the Jazz store earlier this year, and they like literally pulled it off the shelves because people were so upset. It's like
Yeah.
ridiculous, and I'm just like, I'm really glad I'm not a part of that because I
was in a
to-
good situation where I was also not old enough to be like invested in that way, but I was young enough to remember the good times, right? I was young enough to be like, oh, I'm growing up in the Jordan era, but I also have like no real stake in any of the rivalries. I'm like, oh, look, it's a game.
Like I can just enjoy
You know,
both
it's-
sides and be
yeah,
cool
for sure. 100%.
But there's but it's crazy how long people hold on to that. So
yeah, for sure.
I'm just a basketball fan in general, but I do have to say, as predominantly a Miami Heat fan, because that is my hometown, I do have an inherent hatred for the Boston Celtics. Jake.
Same.
As
I was just in Boston.
I think we can agree we share that hate.
Right.
Miami has probably eliminated the Bucks more. It doesn't matter.
I mean, all three of us should have an inherent hate for each other because we've all beaten each other in the playoffs recently. But
No, I like all of you. Don't worry about it. It's fun.
Now it's hard for me to hate the Heat when they just got lucky because of an injury. You know, I don't blame
Twice.
them.
Twice.
They're not a threat.
Twice.
I mean, the only 8 seed to ever go to the finals. I think that means
Yeah.
something.
Who did they beat before the Celtics? I forgot.
Oh man, that's a good question. I think it was the Knicks.
Yeah. Did they beat any other teams on the way, or?
Yeah, of course they did. They beat the Bucks.
The prior reigning champions.
You use the injury excuse to lose to them. Didn't the Bucks lose Giannis in the middle of that too? Like game 1? Anyways,
this is why we should have a basketball podcast.
Yeah.
Eric.
Yeah.
What's one of your hobbies outside of video games? You just gonna go with the classic sports, or what?
I mean, I do
Clearly
sports
sports
every week,
yes.
but no, I like hunting, fishing, swimming. So I don't do a lot of it, but I do like that stuff.
Okay.
All right, Jakey boy, what do you got? Is it eating? Because I swear you're doing it every damn stream.
What?
Is it eating donuts? Because
No, I already ate my cookie. I was pretty sneaky about it.
Nothing by me. I was like drooling because I can only have shakes right now, like protein.
Yeah.
So it sucks.
What's it called? I like playing music.
Right on.
Play a little bit of everything, and I like to sing too.
Nice.
Look up Jake Randall Pokemon rap on YouTube.
Wait, what? No.
We gotta look this up.
Let me become
Oh my goodness.
Jake Randall Pokemon rap. What is this right now?
Holy
4 minutes.
crud.
Pokemon rap lyrics.
Share your audio.
What?
Oh God, we may have to.
What?
Yeah, sure.
I won't be able to play
You
it.
did it to the tune of Ice Ice Baby.
Yeah, I feel like convert it. And stuff
That's wild. That's actually wild.
Oh man,
that's
the thinking.
This is going to turn into an intro to my live streams from now on. Steam.
Dude, that's sick.
Oh man.
The spinning.
Oh my goodness.
Oh geez. All right. Anyways,
Like everyone's just watching it.
Yeah, I know.
I know we're all just enraptured by this.
So hobbies for me, look, I don't have time for a lot of stuff. I get to watch some sports and do my YouTube stuff and play video games. And at one point, YouTube was a hobby, but now it's my job. Kind of feel like it's still a hobby because I enjoy it, but that's like obvious stuff. There's other things that I'm really interested in. Like I really love tech. I'm just really big into technology and keeping up to date on all the latest happenings with the computer components and the different cell phones and all that stuff.
Tech girly.
I really like that stuff. And for those in the know, if you know, you know, I love singing karaoke.
Really?
You should have come to Boston. I literally had a karaoke night. We rented out a room and everything. I sung "Be Our Guest." I was like all Lumiere and up in there. Come on, man.
Hey, I was tearing up the karaoke too because I was invited by someone from the area who just didn't show up. It happens. I got stood up
because my friend needed my help.
I know.
I wouldn't have stood you up.
Relax.
Oh, Jake did stand me up. I invited him to everything, and he didn't come. But it's okay.
So the Lucky Strike night, my friends spent like $2,000 to buy a table at the Grand.
Yeah.
Holy
shit. Fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
With like bottle service and like everything. I couldn't
Oh my God.
Pass that up. What the heck?
Yeah, no, okay, go do that. If you had told me that, I would have been fine. I would have been like,
I did tell the group chat that we got a table at the Grand. I just didn't explain it very well.
I'm not popular.
I didn't explain what that meant.
Cool enough to be in the group chat.
I just hate.
Yeah.
I love group chats. I just never get put in them. And you know what?
Does anybody here watch Curb? Is anybody caught up on Curb Your Enthusiasm? The most recent.
I'm not caught up. I used to watch it.
Because there's an episode about a group chat very recently, like one of the most recent episodes, and about how much he hates them and he feels like obligated to respond to things when he doesn't want to respond, and they get upset at him for not even putting emojis. Where they're like, you could just put a thumbs up, and he's like, if I say one person, I could just do a thumbs up right now. Here you go. You want a thumbs up? I'll give you a thumbs up. It's very good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just kind of the hobbies I have. There's other things I have interest in, but I just have no time for. So
I like making
the
Mexican food.
karaoke. Like I want to go out every Friday night. There's a place like 10 minutes from my house that has karaoke. It's packed every night. I got to go two Fridays ago because one of my buddies was in town, invited me out, and Yulia for some reason said, fine. And I went, and oh my God, it was, I tore up that mic, baby. I was on that thing all night.
Hell yeah.
You need to go on a
Hell
tour.
yes.
See the bar, and everyone left early. No, I'm just
I want to see
Gaddy
it. I wanna see
Prime
this.
music tour.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
With Jake Randall.
I have lots of go-to karaoke songs.
Barbie girl.
Rapper.
No, but it's
If
not.
we okay, Nate.
Barbie.
If us 7 were in a Korean karaoke room,
For
like
sure,
that kind of
for sure.
style.
I need all
What
the
would
food.
what would you start us off with?
Brick
You
House.
No.
Nice, good choice. Good
No,
choice.
fuck you gently, Tenacious D.
Oh my God.
Attaboy.
Hell
And
yeah.
for me, it would be either Gaston from Beauty and the Beast.
Oh,
or
sure,
Lenny
yeah,
that's a
from
good one.
Frozen. One of the two.
That's
Yeah.
fun.
Inside of You from Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Wow.
Do they even have that available?
Infant Sorrow, whatever it is. Russell Brand.
It's usually karaoke machines nowadays are literally just like little iPads where you just look up shit on
Sure.
YouTube. Like that's
Sure.
what they are 9
Yeah.
times out of 10.
God, I haven't heard that what Russell Brand would.
Oh,
Yeah, they can probably just create like most YouTube. There's usually someone who's already made like a karaoke version, right? With
Yeah, they're
exactly. No, that's
Or-
literally what it is. Yeah.
Or remember the wedding band in Old School?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
That version,
That's
yeah.
wild.
Jeez.
Holy shit. All right.
You know, Nate, you probably
anything-
could do like a
what else you got,
karaoke
Nate?
stream.
Oh,
I have done
100%.
it before.
You could literally do karaoke on Joy Sound. Nintendo has the Joy Sound thing on Switch.
Oh yeah.
Just look it up, have a Japanese Nintendo account, and go to town, man. Do like Cruel Angel's Thesis from Evangelion. Do like We Are from One Piece.
Oh, wow.
All the Japanese songs that are on there.
That's so awesome.
No, I've done karaoke streams before because I do play copyrighted music on my normal streams because we just kind of don't really delete them. We just unlist them after because
Sure,
YouTube
sure.
decided, hey, we're not going to let strikes for music anymore. We're just going to say no one can watch your video. I'm
There is a way. There's a way to. I don't know if there's a way to do it on YouTube, but there's a way to do it on Twitch where you can like while the live stream is up, the music will play. But if like when the VOD goes up after the fact, it will not.
Yeah, I don't care
There's
about the people are like, why can't I watch this on demand? I'm like, dude, we were jamming out to some Michael Jackson and some other stuff. Don't you?
Well,
you need to be.
that's what I'm saying is like you could set it though.
You want to see Prime? You want to see Prime lit up? You got to be at the lives. It is what you got to be there. That's how it happens.
Fair.
Or you just got to be Jake Randall, who we did meet up a different night and we got lit up. It is what it is.
Jam
That
out,
was a
man.
good night.
That was a very
You
good
did
night.
not keep it
I
clean.
keep getting mad at the bartender for not carrying any booze above 30%.
We all thought you were gonna start a fight. We were all like watching you, like, what the fuck?
I was
I
not.
could not imagine you starting a fight in a bar. Prime.
I was
There's
not
no
even
way.
close to starting
I
a
could
fight.
I could not imagine.
It
that.
definitely looked like he was very close.
Wow.
I
Could be
was
somebody from
mad at the
Boston.
bartender for
Let's be
not
real,
knowing what two of the different
Dude, it
alcohol.
wasn't just the bartender; it was like everyone around you.
No,
You're like,
dude, I was not. Dude,
Was
see,
this the
you're
night I stayed in?
on the backside. You're not involved in the conversations. Conversations where I bought 3 shots of tequila.
I was involved in looking at the body language.
And then the guy looked at me and said, Are you going to drink all of those? I'm like, would you like me to? No one can drink all of those. I'm like, dude. She's like, who are you? I'm like,
On Nintendo Prime, bitch. Play the soundboard.
I'm Nintendo Prime, bitch. Anyways, I didn't say that. No, there
So,
was
Nate, you're going to PAX West, right? That's
the right side of the bar. There was a female that was doing something and started causing a huge fight with like she was trying to pick a fight with me, and then this other guy walked
Yeah,
up.
no, she was picking the fight with you for sure.
She was going, and her friend the whole time was like, "I'm so sorry. You're seeing so nice." What she gets like this when she drinks. I'm like, I'm just here to have a good time. Would you like a beer? I don't even.
Well, you don't punch me in the face. We're all good.
beer. I don't even. What are we doing?
Yeah.
I was not picking a fight at all, but she wanted to fight everyone. She probably did get in a fight that night with someone physically. I don't know what was up with that. I've never experienced a woman where I'm just like, "Hi, nice to meet you." What the fuck did you say? Well, okay, you walked up to me.
Like, whoa, take it easy. Yeah.
Like, I'm just being nice.
Whoa.
Calm down. I got the ring on. We're good. Leave me alone, please. That's why I had to move to the other side of the bar. Anyways, I think we got. Oh, let me see. That was the one question we had. We had just this guy saying, "Hey, even he just wanted to celebrate his 1 month of being a member." So thank you for that.
Right on. Right on.
We have a suggestion from Macro saying they should hire Ember Lab to do a Zelda short, and then check out Ember Lab's Majora's Mask Terrible Fate. I've definitely seen that.
Very good. Yeah,
and Roger, you're being
very
challenged there, buddy.
Yeah, I'm down for a Shokugeki whenever. Yeah. The difference is I got to make content if I'm making a Shokugeki, and that takes time. And so I don't know when I get time, but I'm always down for food challenges. It's a blast.
Yeah, is that
maybe I know Macro's in my Discord server. I feel like maybe a Discord Shokugeki night or something would be funny.
Didn't you say when you came in, Rogers, that those food challenges get you bricked up sometimes? Those were your words.
There it is.
Okay, because to be fair, bricked up, I assumed was constipated, the way it was described to me. So I'm like, yes, there are definitely food challenges in which I would feel bricked up if you eat the wrong thing.
All right. I like to.
We're just establishing right now.
That's right.
He's been bricked up before. All right. That's going to do it for episode 60, season 2, episode 60 of our podcast. Only 4 left before we hit season 3 with a slight reboot of the show. It's gonna be pretty cool. We got some pretty big changes. The show is gonna be way different. It's gonna be kind of wild a little bit.
Upside down, even.
I don't even know how I'm gonna control it because I got to be like, oh, you guys are going. Hey, everyone, I got to actually maybe use the mute button once in a while.
Wait, Captain Doge, your friend was correct. So I don't know where the dispute was there. That's exactly what it means.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's like, get hype.
Yeah, getting excited. It has
a specific kind of excitement.
Some kind of excitement. All right, guys, we're gonna go around quick. You got to tell everyone who you are, what you got going on, any upcoming things you might want to advertise, and obviously where the hell they can find you. So, Philip's daddy, what do you got going on, buddy?
I have shit going on, but you can find me, Jake Randall, on Twitter/X and YouTube.
Okay. I'm a nut.
Short and sweet.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yep. Most Wednesdays. Most Wednesdays.
For the most majority.
Mr. Ribbit. Maybe we should have went with Crokerson.
Ribbit.
No. Minus Flam, I'm live on Twitch Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays. We're doing Princess Peach game. I'm gonna do Mario Party, and I'm gonna start really hitting the YouTube. So if you follow something of mine, follow the YouTube, please. I'm trying to get that thing monetized. So we're so close. We're getting there. So,
all right, Ruby's daddy.
You say Croker's son?
That's what I was saying earlier.
I hardly know her son.
Yeah, you're a little late on that one. Ruby's daddy, aka.
I didn't want to interrupt Austin.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Going on, where can they find you?
Yeah, well, I am, I guess, the father of my cat that is named Ruby. But I'm also known as Andres Restart. I make Nintendo news and theory videos and mostly rumors lately because that's what's going on. But there's theory videos coming. Yep, Andres Restart. You can find me there.
All right, Chore Boy.
Yes, yeah, you can find me at Rogers Based everywhere on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and on Instagram. I don't really use Twitter as much anymore, but I do use Twitch and YouTube a lot. And I actually do have a specific Nintendo-related thing to plug that is coming up, Prime, that actually would be of interest to this audience, which is a little older. I don't know how many of you remember the old VHS tapes that would release at FuncoLand, like hyping up new Nintendo trailers. But there was a videotape called Hot News 64 that hyped up Donkey Kong 64 and Jet Force Gemini when those games were first coming out. I won't give all the details here, but I actually got in contact with the guy who hosted the Hot News 64 video. His name's Steve Sobel, really nice guy. Turns out he lives 10 minutes from my house. And so we did an hour and a half long interview about his experience doing that and sort of what it was being like on one of the early prototype kind of like Nintendo Directs before those became a thing. And it turned out his kid watched my YouTube videos. So then we did a whole reaction video for my channel with him and his kid reacting to Hot News 64. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely look forward to that. And thank you again for having me. Greatly appreciate it. Great meeting all of you too. cool bunch
Yeah.
of people.
Well, we'll definitely have
Yeah,
to
wonderful meeting you.
on in season 3 here. I know we got to schedule like 6 months ahead of time, but we'll make it
Yeah,
happen.
right. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, Backstreet Boy. What's up?
Well, I don't know if I can follow
Tell
that
us
up,
why.
but
I mean,
Tell me why.
you did turn your head
Backstreet's
when you
back.
mentioned that video as if you might have a VHS copy.
oh no,
That's
I don't
what I
have.
thought. I'm like, are you getting Hot News 64 over there?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think I have Hot News 64, but somewhere on the shelf I have one of those old VHS promo things that they put the
Yes.
trailers on. I think
Yes,
it's like
exactly.
I think it's for Banjo-Kazooie or something like that. But I
I
don't
had
remember
one
what
for
it is.
Majora's Mask when I was a kid. I'd watch
Yeah,
that
Yes,
on
Majora's
repeat.
Mask one too. Yes.
Yeah.
Oops, just instantly turned. I'm like, oh shit, he has one, doesn't he?
I'm
I
gonna
don't
Yeah.
give me like 2 seconds. I'll see if I can find it.
all right. That's fine. I guess I'll go while he's doing that. Obviously, you guys can follow Nintendo Prime right here on YouTube or anywhere you can find me. Pretty much type Nintendo Prime in, it's probably me. If it's not, it's some kid who made a YouTube channel like a long time ago that has like 1 follower and never made a video. I don't know. Beats me. What I can say is the podcast is awesome, and I'm getting a little emotional. Every episode get closer to the end because I don't even know if the core even knows. Besides Andres, who I went over with him a lot of the stuff. A lot of the major changes coming because the show is going to feel a lot different, a lot shorter, a lot more concise. And it's on me to make sure it stays that way. So the reason for that, there's multiple reasons for that. But the bottom line is I'm getting a little bricked up thinking about the end.
Oh my God. Bring the cycle back around.
Bring it back around. All right, Backstreet Boy. What'd you find over there?
Okay, so it's not Banjo-Kazooie, but it is Yoshi's Island.
Oh, Yoshi's Island. Wow. That's
Oh,
even yeah.
man.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's like the Super Nintendo era one. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all getting bricked up.
Pretty
Wow,
cool.
wow, wow,
This
wow.
is what you get bricked up for. Yeah.
We are getting bricked up.
For
Yeah.
old VHS days.
That is- yeah.
Yeah.
Promoting Nintendo videos. How cool.
Yeah. Look at that.
Wow. That
Wow.
is memorabilia.
He had
That
to
is
prove it
wonderful.
wasn't just a
Yeah.
sleeve, guys. It wasn't just
Wow.
That's
And now
beautiful.
instead,
Wow.
what we get
Mr.
is
Midnight.
a random tweet about a game.
That's it. Random tweet.
No,
or we
see,
end up getting a Nintendo Direct once every
This
quarter.
is why, like,
Yeah.
I know this is like 30 years old, but this is why I'll always advocate for physical stuff because this
Heck
is just
yeah.
like the neatest thing.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
That's
excellent.
awesome.
truly is.
Yeah. But
Be
outside
kind.
of what was that?
Sorry, I said
Sorry,
be
I-
kind, rewind.
Oh. Is it rewound? I should check.
I'm sure.
I think it is. Yeah, it is. It's pretty short, but it's,
Do you remember how VHSs work? Which side it needs?
Rewind.
Yeah, I do.
Man, oh man.
Yeah, you want it on the left
YouTube
to
rewind.
start.
Right. Yeah, it is on the left. I checked it. With that said, though, for once again, those who don't know, I'm Hoops. If you like Pokemon stuff, you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram. I post lots of just like coverage videos of what's going on with the games, obviously. And I also do a lot of like Fakemon, like just like cool, just like I guess world building type videos, just like making up my own stuff. It's a lot of fun. So check that out if you're into that sort of thing.
All
It
right.
looks like Eric's hand is on Austin's lap.
Huh?
And like
Huh?
Austin's hand's on top of
Give
Eric's
him a
hand.
little rub under the table. Why did we...
Bricked
Whoa.
up.
Whoa. Whoa.
Jake's
Wow.
got it. We gotta end this. Jake's gonna get it out of hand.
We are at the end of the show, folks. Thank you so
Out
much.
of
like
hand,
it.
but I heard that. I appreciate that. That was
We're going to pop this outro. We
Yeah,
got
exactly. Bye, guys. I hope you all